and 150 people signed on at this point. Now, the letter is still open to be signed. I've read it. It basically says, you can't tell us what to teach. You can't tell us what to think, more or less, okay? And I think most people would probably agree with that. I am not sure. I've read the Harvard lawsuit. I think they will win on this because it's unclear to me. These are grants. We've talked about this. These are scientific grants given out to people who are doing research on cancer, on Parkinson's, on Alzheimer's, on AI, on robotics, things like that. They have no connection to the anti-Semitism, whatever is being done or not done by Harvard, and Harvard has taken some steps. And they've already been approved. These are not things in the future. These are current grants. So Harvard has actually frozen an awful lot of their scientific projects at this point because the money is just not being sent. And I have to tell you, I do know people at Harvard. It's really horrible. It's sad. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. You don't stop scientific research in the middle and think it's all cool. So I'm not a fan of what's going on, and that's what's happened with the universities.
Thank you, Tara. Guys, what happens, that means that all of the medical research that these breakthroughs that happen, like right now, I mean, I don't think it's happened, and I don't know what has happened. They've been able to grow a human tooth, okay, to regenerate and grow a human tooth. You have your baby tooth, and then you have your adult teeth. And I'm not speaking about Harvard. I'm just saying researchers have been able, and all this stuff happens, and it betters our quality of life. All right.
Don't they have $53 billion they could dip into to cover that cost?
Oh, here's the thing, Andrew. No, let me
go to endowment. Go ahead.
Well, you could, of course, technically, but every school in the country, every university has the opportunity to get research grants. Harvard is not the only one by any means. It's one of the biggest, and it gets probably the most. But every school, University of Alabama, in fact, has a significant percentage of its research from federal funding. This is the way we've always done it. So to sort of say, well, Harvard could spend its own money but not talk to any of the other schools is, in fact, discriminatory in my view. So why aren't you saying one of those other schools that
At Alabama, we don't hate the Jews and send a bunch of Palestinian protesters in there to keep them from going to class.
Andrew, you have I think, speak to Jewish people even more than you can because I am Jewish and my father was Israeli. And what I will say is conditioning grants on the university's response to anti-Semitism, which I do not think is good enough, quite frankly, is wrong legally. I'm just going to say legally because I stand with the law as well. Okay, Harvard has taken some steps, probably not enough, and there's more they can do. But there's a process for that. It's called Title VI. You go in, you give them notice, you negotiate, you work with them, you ask what they've been doing. Harvard has taken about 8 steps that I think they've basically listed in their lawsuit. Now, if you think that's not enough, then you go back to Harvard and say, we think you should be doing more, okay? But what you don't do is say, and hey, we're taking all the money we gave to you under other programs that have nothing to do with this because we're pissed. That's not how you do it legally.
Yeah.
I personally love wasting American dollars for medical future for the better of our people, like in terms of our health. Yes, it's great. Let's just spend all this money and stop research right in the middle of helping us discover how to stop cancer in kids and our well-being. I mean, I love it. The whole thing, it makes no sense, and I say this
Who got the money to
sarcastically.
cover it?
I say it sarcastically because it's completely ignorant. It's an embarrassment for our future, and if people don't realize that, then that is what our society encompasses: is ignorant people. Because Harvard's medical school, these are leading universities that actually have propelled us, moved forward to have better health. We cannot avoid that. Look, we need to continue to invest in these schools. It's unacceptable.
And when I gotta be honest, Andrew, when you say something so profoundly stupid as, well, they can afford to do it themselves. First of all, not for long, they won't be able to if they spend the endowment. But the endowment, the donations that people make are entirely separate from this source of funding, which the government and Congress have agreed is a good idea. That's the key point. It's not like, they just sort of got these funds fraudulently. And when you stop experiments in the middle, let me tell you something. I don't know if you've ever done scientific experiments, but I'm quite familiar with them. You're screwed. Right? You can't just sort of, okay, we're just going to stop and then re-up it, next week. It doesn't work like that. If you're not doing it on a steady basis for many of these things, they are gone. What's happening now at universities, and once again, I know a lot about Harvard, and I will just speak to that, is that they have basically their new classes. They have already issued, their acceptances, etc. But they're very concerned because they think that nobody from a foreign country will plan to come to America because they're scared their student visas will be revoked for no reason. Now, you might say, oh, we don't need any of them, but I thought the whole point was that the best and the brightest wanted to come to America and do good things here, and we are the beneficiary of that. But what's happening now is the Trump administration is making our country stupider, less innovative, less competitive, and we will regret this, Andrew. I don't know if you see that, but I hope that you would.
Regret it? I don't even think it's a matter of regret. Capital markets work when there's competition. This is monumental in terms of what we're doing. People are not going to come here to study. They're not going to come here to do medical research. We are losing the highest level percentage of people in academia. And that is what has created our innovation. It has created capital markets to exceed, and people don't understand how much it means, like, for our pharmaceutical companies. The reason why our economy has done so well is because we have, adhered to a free capital market.
Yeah, y'all are the same people who push the Russia hoax and all this other stuff. Y'all
See,
just
so
lost a
you
lot
have
of
no
credibility in the
answer.
sky.
Oh my
Listen,
God,
You
the
Andrew,
have
sky is
no.
always
please.
falling with you
Well,
guys.
You have
maybe
no
don't
legal
interrupt him
answer.
and you'll
You
hear
always
him.
It's
blow
over.
everything up to a 10 out of 10. The world's going to end
Oh,
if we
no, no, no!
don't
It
give
won't.
Harvard
It'll
$2
just move
billion.
It will just move to Europe. It'll move to Canada. It'll move to Japan. It'll move to South
No, it
Korea. It's not a
won't.
big deal. It'll move to
Already
Brazil.
has.
There's
It
other
already
places
has,
for it to
Andrew. You're
go.
not. Andrew, you see, this is why you have no answer to my argument that this is illegal and it's wrong and it will stifle
Well, we'll
innovation.
find out, won't we? We'll
Oh,
find
well,
out.
fuck around and find out is it's a
My
great
life
governing
has an
strategy, but it's really
experiment under
stupid.
Trump.
Let me just tell you right now, France has made offers and they have been accepted to 200 top scientists to go there because, as they've said, we will not cut off your funding.
Yeah, go
Canada,
over there. And then when radical Islam
Listen,
takes over the country, they'll
listen to
behead you.
me. Canada has a similar program. This woman is absolutely right. Other countries will step into the breach and they will get the benefit of the innovations and the inventions and things that are happening. And we will not, and they will not come back here because we are not receptive now to science, to
That's not
learning, to
true.
growth.
It's just the
We are not
universities that are
special.
fucking
The United
around
States
with
of America is
DEI
no longer
and
special
anti
because we have
Semitism.
broken ties. We've broken tariff agreements that Trump signed with Canada, Vietnam. He is backpedaling on everything that agreements that he put into place. We are no
No,
longer
it's not.
credible. So if you can't understand that, I mean, this is not a joke.
Yep.
It's not a game.
I,
It's a reality, and that is the way we've worked for a long time.
Well, I tell you what,
April,
I'm happy to agree
this
to
is the
disagree with
worst
you.
month of our stock down. Our economy is the same as 1932 in April of 1932 as of this month.
That's hilarious.
Yes, some of us agree
Andrew,
with you.
Andrew,
Okay. We're
Andrew,
I,
back in 1932.
living in alternative facts.
Wow.
Miss you, Andrew.
Andrew, I
Long time.
appreciate. Hi, Andrew. This is Sajo speaking. I
What's up, dude?
appreciate your. All right, I appreciate your content contribution. But as a friend, I prefer you picking your battle. In this particular topic, it's kind of an embarrassment. You're taking an embarrassing position. If you are wide aware and steep
I'm
on
not
what's happening
embarrassed.
in
Listen,
academia.
I'll look more
Well,
into it. I
let me
promise you I
finish.
will tomorrow. Didn't you go
Okay.
to Harvard?
Um, say that again.
Didn't you go to Harvard?
I'm still in Harvard.
Yeah,
Always going
okay.
to be
That's
there.
why you're going to
But
booty clap for them.
no, no, hold on, hold on.
What are you
I'm
doing?
just
Online
trying to, I'm just
courses?
trying to save face. Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Hey, are you doing online courses? Are you in my
Both.
hometown?
Yeah, both. I this semester I'm doing both. I'll be coming to as a matter of fact, I'm going to test you now. So check your inbox. Andrew, the point that I'm trying to make to you is there are some certain I like you. I mean, you are a very great contributor here. Um, but pick your battle. I want you to maintain some level of credibility that you have here. There are some this issue here. You are at the wrong side of the debate here. Okay, what Trump is doing with the universities has no basis in academia. Has no basis in any kind of policy whatsoever. Is counterproductive to him, to the country. I mean, one question you ask yourself is, if his son was in Harvard, do you think he's going to be taking such a position? A lot of people have contemplated on that. A lot of people
Sorry,
have
sorry, Jude, I gotta kick in on this
new.
one. I gotta kick in
Yeah,
on this one,
go
buddy.
ahead.
No, with all due
Go ahead.
respect, there's a
Let's.
lot of Harvard people that are pretty upset with Harvard right now. So come on, buddy, you gotta tell the truth here. Because if you're going to Harvard, you know there's a lot of alumni that are pretty pissed off at Harvard.
Cindy, can you
Well,
give us any legal justification for Trump attempting to withhold federal research funds because they're pissed off about
Tara,
Harvard's anti?
I
Can you? I'm
get
asking
Tara.
legally.
I know. I listen, legally or illegally. I'm just telling you how a lot of people feel
It's irrelevant
about
to the
Harvard right
legal
now.
argument.
And
I know.
Tara, they're mainly what between you and I? Think outside the box right now, okay? They're pretty pissed right now in Harvard, and there's many of them.
But I'm saying to you that the way to deal with
They're
that
in,
is not to take away their research
no,
funding. This is
these
wrong.
are
And
very
I think you,
smart
it
people that are
doesn't matter.
pretty.
They're not saying the
It doesn't
lawsuits are
matter.
right.
They're kind of loving it, Tara. I
Cindy,
gotta tell you.
what percentage, Cindy, are pissed off? Is it the majority or the people you know?
It's some really wealthy people
Michelle,
like Bill
Sherry
Ackman
No,
and
knows.
people like that.
I'm just
A lot
asking.
of Harvard people. Come on,
No,
come on.
that's what I'm saying. Is it the majority of the Harvard alumni and current
A
students,
lot of
or
alumni
is it the
are
people that you
enjoying
know?
this.
Is it the people that you know that's pissed
Doesn't
off?
really matter, right? Whether
It
I
does
know them or
matter
don't,
because I
because
presume
when
that a
I
lot of them
know
don't want to
them,
be
then
bullied.
they
They
know
don't want to be
others,
bullied.
and then they know others, right?
I know that a number of them don't want to be bullied. Let's start with the Supreme Court. How many Harvard grads are on the Supreme Court?
I don't know how many.
Can we know why they're upset
Hurry
at
up. Let me Google
least?
it. Let me Google it.
Yeah, go
That's a good
ahead. Use a
question,
I
grok.
Too
Tara.
many.
listen.
Too
Use
many.
Actually,
You
there
use
guys
a
aren't
the
that many,
Google.
right?
You
use
guys the
There aren't
use a
Google
that many.
machines.
grok. Use a
I
grok
live.
machine.
I live here. I live in Boston. Let's not forget that. You
That
don't live in
what does that
Boston.
mean? What does that mean? Just because you live there?
Because
How is that
because I
relevant?
live here. Seriously, how many doctors do you think are graduates of Harvard? Scientists, doctors,
Again,
you
that's why
name
I
it,
asked
right?
you, Cindy. Is it the people
Okay,
you
I'm
know,
telling
or what
you
is the percentage of their entire
exactly,
alumni
Michelle. Yeah, the people.
and
We'll
their
go. We'll
current
go.
and
We'll go with the
the
people
current
I know.
students
Oh, we
and the
don't
current
care.
students?
We're not talking about the students.
Well, why not? They're part of the body.
How the
Dee,
body.
did you
Come on.
know that over the course of the past
Cindy.
week or
A
2
lot of
weeks,
people are
that
pissed at
Harvard
Harvard,
has
Sarah. You
received
know
more?
this. You
Look,
know
what
this.
you're talking about, some wealthy donors who are very upset, and I think they have some reasons to be upset, but you are not
Thank
talking
you.
about the plethora of Harvard alumni, because in fact, over the past 2 weeks, Harvard has received more donations than they ever do from smaller donors. It's like triple the amount,
Smaller
because
donors,
no,
Tara.
but that's what I'm trying to say. You're only concerned with the large people. But Rochelle asked a question which doesn't have anything to do with how much money they had, but it's basically how many people support this. And what you're seeing is a bunch of the wealthy people are pissed, like a Bill Ackman, and I get that, okay? But that is not by any means represent the sentiment of most of the Harvard alumni, and you really need to acknowledge that.
She's the
Well,
first
No, I
one,
Cindy,
Tara.
absolutely
Cindy,
She's the
Cindy,
don't.
let
first
me tell you.
person. She's the
Let
How
me
I
much
first
give
money
you.
do
person
you
Let
Got
me
her,
think
tell
the
you
to
what's
Cindy.
going
Harvard
on.
Got her.
people are taking
I
from?
have everyone is
The
proud of
streets
what
do a lot of
Harvard's
talking
doing.
here, guys. Boston's a small city. Don't forget that.
Cindy, to
I
your
want to know how
point.
much money they
Okay.
take from the Chinese Communist Party.
I have only heard people
Cindy, to your
proud.
I
point.
want to know
Yeah,
how much
I'm going to answer you
influence.
that,
So
Andrew.
I've not. So you're
Cindy,
the
to your
first person
point.
that has
Yes,
said
there's a lot
anything.
of dissension in Harvard. There's always been dissension in
I
Harvard.
just want to make sure we all
It's
know
been
that.
a hot.
That's it.
No, yeah, but let me
Not
say this to your
everybody's
Well,
point.
bully
I mean,
classes at Harvard.
all of the
So
students at
hold on.
Harvard are not from Boston. Let's start with that point.
Yeah, that's true. You see,
Most of them stay
Cindy, the
though
whole
when they
point is
graduate.
that.
When they graduate, let's call it what it is, right? They want to stay here.
Yeah, the whole point is that Harvard encourages dissension. That is what academia is all about. Okay, that is why it creates an environment where ideas are being exchanged. We are not going to be at the same place. And what the problem here is with Donald Trump's approach, he's trying to stifle and staunch and quench out that opportunity for people to mix up and exchange ideas and to disagree and to agree in an egalitarian platform. So what Harvard is doing is encouraging, allowing people to come in and disagree. That's how opinions are formulated. That's how we become better people, not to be controlled, not for the minds and ideas to be controlled. So, I mean, the idea that there is people that are not happy in Harvard, that's what made Harvard grow. I mean, go figure. right? If we don't have that kind of dissension, look at where we are going back again. Harvard is in a situation now they are doing a soul searching because Harvard has sometimes been in the wrong side of history and they are trying to avoid that. Don't forget that this race theory, this racial distinction theory started in Harvard, right? That created
Let's
this
not forget
idea
who built a lot of Harvard too, right?
that who did what?
When you say Harvard's been on the wrong side of times, don't forget who built a lot of the Harvard
Yes,
school, right?
yes. I
Chelsea,
know.
are
So
you not
what I'm
understanding
saying
what I'm
is that
saying? Are you not understanding what I'm
say
saying,
that
honey?
again.
You don't
No,
understand what I'm
say that
saying? Then
again, please.
unmute. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then unmute.
I wasn't going to interrupt. I
No, no,
didn't
no.
understand.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you because we are talking over me. We are talking over each other. Say that again, please. I'm
Oh, hey,
waiting.
I'm
Kalisa.
waiting. We can make a bunch of crazy faces, but I'm
I'm
waiting.
waiting for you to respond.
I'm not going to respond. I'm done. I said what I had to say.
Wait, I literally didn't hear
Okay, I
you.
didn't hear you.
If you think a lot of
Cindy,
people aren't disgusted with Harvard right now, you're not correct. There's a
Oh,
lot
I'm
of
so
people that
sorry.
are out here.
The Trump
I'm sorry
University,
to break your bubble, but
guys,
I
like
don't know where
but on
you
what
live.
And there are
But
a
in
lot of people that
Boston,
support
here
Harvard as
in
well.
Boston, where Harvard is in Cambridge, okay? Streets do a lot of talking. People do a lot of talking here. And
What
even
does you
Harvard
saying
what,
that?
grads
What does streets do
don't
a lot of
even want
talking
their
mean?
kids going there right now.
Okay,
How's
great.
that one?
People
why
are
is that,
happy that
Cindy?
Harvard and
What is
people
the
are
issue that
upset.
they are disgusted
They
Okay.
about?
have
What?
many views. There's been many views on that one.
Okay.
Let's
So
I
pick
don't
they
up
can
think
have
one.
their
anyone whose
they can have
kids
their
can get
views,
into
but
Harvard are like, my kid's not going to go to Harvard because I don't agree with their political
That
views.
is absolutely correct. That's what they're doing right now.
Cindy, they can have their views, but Harvard students and
Catherine, you can
alumni
roll
can't.
your eyes, but
They
these are
can't have
parents
theirs.
that went to Harvard that do not want their kids going to Harvard, and they can
Okay,
get
well they
into
can send them
Harvard,
somewhere else.
which they're going to do.
I like the fact that Harvard's offering free education to anyone whose household earned less than $200,000. Thank you, Harvard.
That's great. I hope Brown does the same.
Wait a minute, hold on. Harvard's always been generous to the poor. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What does that?
What does that have to do with what I just said,
You
Cindy?
just said they're giving away free scholarships to
No,
the
I didn't
poor.
No,
say
they
scholarships.
made
I
school
said
free.
free,
Sorry,
like
go
Free
most
ahead.
states,
education,
like most
guys.
state schools, like most state
Yeah,
schools
I
do,
know.
like University of Texas,
Don't
University
don't
of
don't drink the
Georgia,
Kool-Aid, guys.
like what they do.
Okay, yeah,
Harvard is doing the
they're gonna
same
let
thing, but
hundreds
they're offering it worldwide.
they're gonna let hundreds of students come in for free. You're dreaming.
What do you
You're
mean?
All
dreaming.
right.
Literally, that's
Cindy's
what
right.
they.
Do you guys not understand how higher
You're
education actually
dreaming.
works? They
Oh
let
my
in a
god.
Just
Oh, wait,
stop drinking
Nora's
the
an
Kool-Aid and
education
don't
they
give
expert.
me. Oh
actually
my
let in a
God,
tiny,
Kelsey.
No, we
tiny
You're
know that
what?
they can.
29
They
years
model
old.
Y'all,
we
this is
know
like
minority
that
a
they.
Hey, how
this is
old are
a
you?
press
You've
class
been
announcement.
for
indoctrinated.
You guys
It is
all
Indoctrinated.
talking, you're not
embarrassing. I'm
defending each
Parents
other.
don't want
embarrassed.
their
you
kids
guys
in.
are
This sounds crazy, bro.
So let me just discuss how Harvard admissions work. This is something I know a lot about. Okay, what Harvard.
One second.
Who is
Whoever's touching
muting
on mute.
her?
One second. Nina,
why
Wait,
one
is
who
second.
Nina
just
talking? All
One
who
of
mic.
just
these
muted
minutes
me?
it's her
One
fucking
mic.
turn and I get
Yo.
Excuse me, Nora. It wasn't your
Yeah,
turn, but
one second, guys. Whoever's touching that mute button, don't touch that mute button. Okay, because I'm gonna start
okay.
dropping everyone.
This is how Harvard admissions works. The financial aid aspect of it, in other words, how much your family makes, is separated from the admissions decisions. So theoretically, the admissions officers do not know whether you need aid or not when they act on your application. Now, from a practical standpoint, there are many reasons why they would understand that certain people do not need aid, right? In other words, your parents are wealthy, you live in a certain suburb, etc. So it's not exactly as segregated as I made it seem. But what Harvard has done from a financial aid standpoint is said that any family who makes $200,000 or less will receive, in essence, a free ride to Harvard. Now, that means no loans. It means all grants. I don't, and so there are going to be, that is a new policy. It was less than 200,000 before this year. There are other universities, Princeton is quite generous too, and they all have all the IBs have the same policies of separating out financial aid decisions from admissions decisions. So you're probably going to see more people in that range of people who need money and are going to take the free rides. But at the end of the day, to be honest, Harvard does have ways of understanding that some kids are free pay, that are full pay kids, right? Okay, I'm done.
And
Yeah,
Jonathan
their
doesn't
parents
qualify for
donate to the
that.
endowment.
Let's
That's the whole point of having $1 billion endowment. Like, this is weird because this is just a fact. Harvard literally said they are not going to charge people whose families make under $200,000 a year.
They are
So
also a tax exempt institution who has been threatened by the government to have that exemption taken
On
away from
what
them,
basis,
which is
Nora?
extremely
what is
that
who
it's strictly
cares,
tax
bro?
exempt. So
Can you stay
because
on
their
topic?
endowments up until
Oh
now have
my
not
god,
gone to
can you stay
helping
on topic?
poor students. It has not gone to helping students who can't afford to go to Harvard. The amount of students that get to go to Harvard that are middle,
I don't know
even middle
why you're
class,
choosing to
who come
argue with
from
the news,
backgrounds
but
of
bro,
less than
your issue is not
$200,000
with
a
me.
year.
Can you just like actually, if you want to argue with the website, like you can do that, but like
Oh,
I'm not
you read the
interested
internet, so
in
you know
going back and
everything.
forth with
So
you
you know
about
everything because
things
you read
that
a
are
website.
facts.
Oh, I got it. Never mind. I'm clearly
Now,
mistaken because I
Nora,
know
I
nothing
don't
about
understand
history.
what you're actually arguing about. Okay, we all agree that there are wealthy people at Harvard. Harvard knows there are families that are
I'm
wealthy.
saying that there's always an agenda behind the decisions made. They're not there's no charity happening right now. There's no charity by Harvard. They don't want to get, no one wants to give away money. They never did before. Let's not forget that Harvard actually in the 1930s and 40s, but actually prior to World War II, had anti-discrimination laws similar to what they had in the 60s and 70s of not letting Jewish students into the school. I think what Cindy was too, I will say modest to say was Harvard and a lot of Ivy League
What
institutions
the
were
hell does that
built
have
by
to do with
slaves.
2025? That has nothing to do with
Nothing.
what's going
She's
on
just
right
Yes, it
now.
making
does.
It
shit
has
up.
nothing to do
This
with
is
what their
so
taxes have
vibrational.
been.
They
What
hate
have
Ma'am.
their
morality.
taxes been for the
They
past
hate
10
Ma'am.
years,
Wait.
20
morality.
Why
years?
don't we
It
let
has
Ma'am.
nothing
Nora
to do with any of
let
that.
Nora,
Yes, it
Rochelle let
does.
your
Nora
It
point
has
finish?
while
only
She's
you are
exhibit
making
talking.
morality or a concern for humanity when it benefits them in some financial way.
So what is your point, though? I still have no idea. The university is
Well,
acting in its own
It's hard to know.
self-interest.
I
Rochelle
literally just
interrupted.
said my point. It was
Well,
one sentence.
The
that's a
point is,
nonsense.
it's not on topic. Thank you. Can we
The
move
point is
on,
that Harvard is
please?
not a font of goodness and grace in the world. Okay, we get that. Big deal. Okay, the fact that
Well,
Donald
thank God
Trump,
that
Why are
thank
you
God somebody just said that,
praising them
Tara.
for
well,
Thank
not
God.
giving
no
education to
university
people I
is,
don't
no
know?
organization is. Come on, they obviously have their self-interest, right? And I do agree that probably one of the reasons why they announced this new and more generous policy was because bad publicity has been happening. They want to get past it. That makes sense to me. But let's not also forget that Donald Trump threatening, which he's not allowed to do legally, their
I
tax
agree.
exempt
It's
status
insane what
is
he's doing.
insane, and it will not work because there is literally no basis upon which to do this. So it's, we're seeing it from all sides. But I would say on the merits, I think Harvard has a much better case that Trump cannot withhold or freeze funding for research on the basis of potential anti-Semitic, not responding to Title VI complaints. I
I
don't
agree.
see that.
And not
Okay,
only do I think that
thanks.
he's insane in this case, but like he clearly does not know history because I went to Berkeley where we have we still have a cafe in commemoration of this free speech movement, which started at Berkeley, which allowed for students to protest things that war, like the Vietnam War, and protected the rights of students. And that moved its way into the judiciary and became a huge part of campus culture. And like the fact that he's just completely forgetting that exists, and like we're going to deport people who are on college campuses who disagree with our political allies, or I mean, he's insane. He's like absolutely batshit insane for saying that. Like it's probably even more batshit than him like claiming that Mexico would build the wall. But I still think that Harvard's motives probably were more prompted by the threats of losing the potential for tax exempt status, as well as any other elite institutions. Also, by the way, state schools do not give that free educations out to people who make less than $200,000 a year, like by any means. I know UT Austin is actually one of the exceptions of those, but there's very few schools that actually does give a free ride to in-state students. And all that's happened recently is that's resulted because of the cutting of funding and them not having endowments like schools like Harvard, is them letting in lots of foreign students. And in the UC system, a number of foreign students has now is reached over 30% of the student population. So state schools are losing out. Elite schools don't give a shit about humanity. And I guess my point is you just read a website and are giving me dirty looks and you're not really saying anything of value, but whatever.
I'm not saying anything of value. Oh my God. God bless.
That's your
Hi,
indication.
Khaleesi. It's good to hear from you. Talk.
It's so great to hear you, Tira.
Okay,
Oh my
when you're
gosh.
done, when you two are done making love, let's call it the
Well,
way it is.
I haven't
Hold
talked to
on,
her for a
Tara.
while. What do
Let's
you
hold
say?
on. Let's hold on here. Come on, don't
Cindy,
stop with
that's
that.
so low vibrational of you. So
Is
low
a,
So
vibrational.
Cindy,
okay,
they love
that's
people
all right,
who
honey. I
love
don't
the
They're
care.
mean girl
safe.
So
thing.
low
That's not
vibrational.
true.
It's okay, honey. Harvard's been playing more politics over the decades than any other college. So stop, okay? Please,
Than any
please.
other
Why
college?
don't you move to Boston, hon? Why don't you get into Harvard? I've seen kids
Get
not get
into
into
Harvard.
Harvard
I have
that
a
absolutely
JD.
deserve to get into Harvard.
What am I gonna go back to school for?
I don't know, find something. How not to make crazy faces when people talk.
What
Stop
does
I'm
it.
sorry.
JD mean?
I've worked really hard not to respond when people say stupid shit, but
Oh, I see. I
what
see.
I haven't mastered is
What's
not
that?
making a face. So I'm so sorry.
Uh-huh.
Now you know how I really feel.
I know, but it's time
I
to grow
love
up.
it.
And making
Yeah,
Khaleesi,
faces
Oh,
okay,
kind of
I'm a
it's
full
just
immature.
adult.
attention
came
seeking.
up.
It's kind of immature, honey. Oh, but it's okay. You're
I
young.
She's
mean,
You'll figure
expressive,
so
you'll
immature.
figure it out.
transparent, and
You'll
nice.
figure
You're
life
gonna
out.
bitch about something.
You'll figure life out. I
Guys, don't
promise.
mute her though. That's not cool.
You'll
I
figure
mean,
life out.
guys, it's okay.
Hey,
I wish
Cindy,
I would
check
wish
your
I looked as good as
inbox.
you.
Anything that has to do with Massachusetts right now, Trump is coming after very hard. If you haven't noticed, okay, that's number one. And there's reasons behind that.
What are the reasons
Give
that
us the
Trump
reasons that
loves
make sense legally.
Boston
Legally.
I can, Tara,
or Harvard?
stop with the
Boston or
legal. Now let's go
Harvard?
on
Why should
reality
I
here.
stop with the legal?
Because
He's
I
legal
don't
making
is
understand
it.
why
legal
you guys
right
brag
now.
about being
He's
lawyers and you
doing
guys
what he
just don't
wants
get
to do,
jobs. I
how he
want to give
wants
out
to
free
do it.
legal advice all day. I have a
All
JD
right, so let's
too.
just
What?
get to the bottom here, okay?
Did she just say she wishes she could just give out free legal
I'm
No,
not.
advice
I
all
said I
day?
don't want to give out free legal
I
advice
have
all
not
day.
given out any free legal advice. I've given my opinion on the
We won't
Harvard
take
Yeah,
it
law
I've
from you,
given
system,
no
Nora.
which
legal
is
advice.
which
Well,
is
why
a
does she care? Nora, do you have a law degree?
well,
Yes,
she
yes, I
does,
do.
but she does, but she never took the bar or passed it. That we have
So you so
established that a
so
Because I
you
long
don't
time
don't
so
ago.
you
practice
don't
law.
She
You
practice
missed
failed the
the
you
bar
court
five
so
date.
you've
times.
never
We don't
Grant
know
practiced
if she
law.
failed it.
Vandermark
She never was
Quarterly.
clear on
Never
that.
took it.
So you never
Never
She
took
practiced
the
doesn't
law.
bar.
have representation for that court
So you
date,
never
I
Nora.
practiced
started
law.
a company. Actually, I went to in-house counsel, basically doing contracts and like pricing
No, she never
and
practiced
contract
law.
negotiation
Okay,
No,
yeah. So I
but
think you
you
shouldn't give Tara, who practiced law, any advice.
license for. I worked all through law school.
I
not
mean, I'm not
switching
going to
representation
denigrate
and
someone
sticking
who
with
like
Grant,
has
Nora,
worked
is
through
why
and
we
like
are here.
graduated from law
Khaleesi and
school.
I
Tara
actually
hasn't
went to
practiced
law.
law in over 20 years.
All right,
And
Khaleesi
Mute
you
and
your
know,
I.
at
mic.
least
Who
attended law.
cares? Like,
Khaleesi
Kira,
and I
no
went to
shade to
law
you, but like,
school. Yeah,
Kira is retired, bruh. Like, great, she hasn't practiced law in 20 years.
Dude, I didn't want to be a lawyer. Congratulations. Everyone I met in
actually
law school
said
was a
something
fucking
nice
douche.
about you, but you can't
But
even receive it because you're so focused on arguing.
when did you say something?
Low vibration. No, all
She actually did. She
Can I
said
make a
she said she
point?
was not going to disparage you because you actually went to law school and graduated. That's what she said, Nora. But
you're not
regardless,
listening.
you're having something to say about Tara, who actually practiced law
Because
for years
every
and
single
decades. So
time,
keep it to yourself,
every single
Nora.
time we talk about this, Tira clings to the bar exam as
And what's
the
wrong with that? What's wrong with her asking about the
uh,
legality of things?
to say I am not to invalidate the fact that I have
She
a
said
law
nothing.
degree,
She said
and then
nothing
you
I
to
literally
you.
had a
She never
trial.
She
Oh
said
I
my
was
nothing
God,
to
actually on
you.
trial. Do you guys do
Nora,
not
Nora,
remember that I was
She
actually
you have to
spoke to
stop
trial?
Cindy.
this.
She spoke to
Like
I
Cindy.
was
She
literally,
wasn't
speaking to
speaking to
Tira,
you.
like
Cindy.
get
You
over
inserted
Nora,
yourself.
get over.
Nora,
You
you
inserted yourself.
clearly have a problem. We all understand that.
Don't be insecure.
I said to Cindy, what about the
I'm not
legalities?
insecure.
Yeah, of course you are, but that's okay. We
But
Oh my
appreciate
god,
that
yeah,
and
Tara,
we
I'm
will
no such
forgive
thing as
we
you.
know,
insecure.
Khaleesi,
we
your
know there are
laugh
things being done that are
What's
is
our buzz,
illegal.
Bart?
unconstitutional. We know there are things being done unconstitutional, right? We can keep saying that word. A lot of things. But at the
Trump.
end, yes, of course.
Okay.
There's
At least you admit it,
constitution.
Well,
Cindy.
You don't think
it
that's
should
scary?
bother it should
100% I'll
bother all
admit
of us.
that. A
Let,
1000% I'll admit that. But again,
But you don't think it's scary, Cindy?
no, I'm one thing I'm not in life is I don't get scared. I'll tell you that. for many reasons.
I'm not saying you're personally scared. I mean,
I'm
does it
not
not make
scared
you
right now.
concerned for democracy?
Of course, actually, not really. You're going to watch this. I swear to you, in 6 months, you're going to have new debates, but it won't be these anymore. Watch.
You know why
Watch
I'm
and
not,
see.
Khaleesi?
Watch
Is
and
because
see
I
what
do believe that
time
the
is going to do
judiciary will
here.
intervene
Listen, there's a
and
lot of
But
us.
the judiciary has no
There's a
enforcement
lot of us
power.
that don't like
yes,
what's
it
going
does. It
on,
absolutely does.
but we
It
are
His
not.
absolutely has
actions will,
no
okay,
We
enforcement
are
power.
not going to
That's why
scream.
yes,
Andrew Jackson said, fuck you, and had the Trail of Tears anyway.
Okay.
okay, well, okay, let's
All
Well,
right.
actually
Judiciary does not have an
talk
enforcement
about
power.
why
But
That's the
it
president.
does
The
have
president
do
enforcement
you
has
power
to
think
carry
because
you
out
would
the
get?
orders
Do you
of the.
think you would get your point across better if you weren't so animated in the conversation? Think about that for a moment.
I'm actually trying to have
God.
a conversation with
Nora,
her
stop for a minute. Just stop for a minute.
assuming
No, but
If we're going to
sitting
have a
focused on
conversation, let's
correcting
have a
DNIA
realistic
expressions because
conversation.
you can't keep up with the conversation.
Okay.
Now,
Then-
Nora, I don't think that I don't think that there's any stopgap right now because we know that the executive has enforcement power. So if Donald Trump flicks off the judiciary like he's doing in terms of,
who interprets the Constitution, Khaleesi?
can
Is it
she
the
yeah, but
executive?
finish?
who enforces the interpretation?
Trump seems to be into
No, no,
that.
no, no.
No, 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 no,
Yes, it's
no.
Who
This
interprets
is
the
weird.
Who interprets the Constitution?
Whoa,
So,
whoa,
okay,
whoa,
This
whoa,
back
whoa,
to
whoa,
what
whoa. No,
happened.
no,
If
no.
they
One
challenge,
mic,
this
one
is
mic.
eighth
One,
grade, bro.
one mic, guys.
We
One
know
mic, guys.
civics.
I said
no,
one
no.
mic, please.
If
One mic. Nora, one mic. Real quick, guys. I think people on CH been trying to get in. Brian, are you there, Brian? Okay, can we hear CH? Hey, CH, can we hear you guys?
yes, we
It's
can
like,
hear you. We can hear you.
okay, all right, no problem. All right, okay. I just want to make sure because Brian said he's trying to get in, but now he's not speaking. Okay, go ahead. Okay, everything's working. Back to you, Nora.
okay, so if he does something, the judiciary will expand on the existing case law. It's going to find that in the history that but the case law shows that what Trump is doing is a violation of civil rights, and will probably rule down any executive order or executive action he takes. That's kind of just how these things usually play out. And then this has happened to Trump many, many times before. And it happened to Obama. It happened to Obama with respect to due process to prisoners in Guantanamo Bay. This executive overreach has been, unfortunately, a huge part of president's presidential behavior since I want to say since probably post Clinton, because Congress has decided to stop cooperating and we don't have bipartisan support. So the executive branch has been acting unilaterally, and this is a bipartisan thing. And it is up to the judiciary to rein them in and bring us back to maintaining our constitutional rights and not allowing executive overreach. And in the past, they have been able to do this. Am I that confident in the current judiciary? No, not really. But I'm still willing to wait and see.
No, I think the problem with your position is this, and I find it very disturbing for somebody that has an exposure to law, that a law has to be deliberately broken to allow the Supreme Court to come in and enforce it. That's your position, okay? Because what we are saying is that Trump's position here is arbitrary and
That's not my
capricious.
position.
That
I was
let me
saying.
finish. I didn't. Well, now you got to cut me
I'm
off.
sorry, but
Okay, go
don't
ahead.
misrepresent what I said, because I said what he was.
No, I'm just saying exactly what you said. I'm
I
just
said what
saying
he was doing is
exactly
insane.
what you're implying. You said that the way this thing works is that okay, a decision has to be made, and it then goes to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to kind of direct how it should be done. No, we already have a system in place that this man is arbitrarily and capriciously violating. Okay, he shouldn't have to go and truncate a policy that is already in place, money that has been allocated that has nothing to do with any political position. He didn't have to interrupt that. What he's doing is blackmailing these universities. He's bullying these universities and he's cutting off their fundings because they did not adhere to his own interpretation of how he wants things to be. That is not the way that it is. If his administration has any issue whatsoever with what the universities are doing, you have to engage them. Okay, you have to follow the process if you want to change it. Okay, you can address it in so many ways, but not crippling the universities to the detriment of science and technology, to the detriment of research, to the detriment of academia. This is not how it's done. This is the only way that it's done like that is in Nazi Germany, and this is not Nazi Germany here. You seem not to get that point. Cindy, check your
I
please
don't
check your
disagree with
inbox.
anything you said, and I wasn't everything that I was saying about guarding the judiciary wasn't me stating an opinion. I was just trying to give an understanding of how Trump may be stopped. Like that he's not just going to be some all-powerful being who can get omnipotent and break the law. That there are mechanisms possibly in place that will be able to stop him through the judiciary.
You know
So
what
I
blows
don't.
me though? Like,
Thank you for walking that back.
All right, hold on.
You're
So
muted.
let's actually play this out. Let's actually play this out for a second, right? So everybody's
We can't hear you,
speculating
Khaleesi.
that
You're muted.
That's
this is
Clubhouse
Brian.
talking.
Bryant
That's
is
This is Brian.
speaking from Clubhouse.
So we need to actually see the judiciary step up and actually serve, right, an order to the executive branch, and then have the U.S. Marshals try and enforce it, and then have Trump come in and actually say, no, U.S. Marshals, I'm not letting you enforce it. You report up to me. If you enforce it, you are fired. That's the circumstance that actually needs to play out before we can start
No.
hypothesizing about how much judicial power, how much power the judiciary actually has. You need to actually see that happen. That hasn't happened
that's
yet.
not how
Well,
No.
no,
Hitler's
But
no.
you know
chatter,
what blows me
Brian.
the
What's
most?
up?
What I find the most disappointing is that, like, after Hitler's failed coup attempt, they at least put him in jail. Like, we couldn't even get Trump in jail. It's embarrassing. We're down
No,
bad.
actually, I want to hear
Why
the
don't we have
lawyers
Brian on
actually.
chatter?
I want to hear the lawyers actually tell me where I'm wrong because I probably am wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but I want to hear this. I want to actually learn something.
Can I just hear that again about Hitler? He was put where?
In
In jail.
jail. Hitler was put in
So Brian,
jail.
Brian, okay. So what I
Hitler
would
took his own
answer
life.
to what I would answer to you is it's not like you're totally wrong, but the thing is, if the court issues a ruling, then the president doesn't follow it. That in and of itself is a constitutional crisis. It's not that the marshals don't enforce it. In fact, that's even that we're going beyond constitutional crisis then,
If we
right?
get to that point,
If
we're
we get
already
to
done.
that point, we're screwed. Okay. If he says, nah, I'm just not going to do it, I'm not going to agree. I'm going to just send the planes out without giving these people due process. It's not a question of the marshals doing anything. That, in and of itself, means he has basically violated the court, violated the Constitution, and we are already in crisis. The marshals is just, that would just be if we then got to the place where there was something the marshals could do. But the fact of the matter is, in many cases, there wouldn't be. What are you going to do? Try and get the court to send out marshals to stop planes? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think you're taking it a step too far. The crisis occurs when he literally says, I'm just ignoring your order.
But also, but the judiciary doesn't control the marshals.
Oh,
The
they could,
executive does.
that's true. In other words, the
Because
judiciary says,
remember
yeah.
when they needed someone to escort Ruby Bridges? Whoever the president at the time was had to order the U.S. Marshals to, because the
But that
police.
was for her protection and to,
But
to enforce the
typically,
Yes, it was
typically,
to enforce
enforce
Brown
the
v. Board of
Constitution.
Education. What
but
are we
typically,
talking about?
but
Yeah, that
Khaleesi,
was to enforce the
typically,
Constitution at the time. I don't
yeah,
whether you like it or not. That was the
but
Constitution.
typically the court, if there was a situation which involved marshals, would say DOJ, go bring out these people. So they go to the government and say, go ahead and serve this, make sure this other person, not the government, abides by the court order. The problem is, in this case, the litigant who is not abiding by the court order would be the government. So we
Yeah,
speculate that they
it's
wouldn't
the
do it.
opposite scenario.
Right,
The
it's the
marshals
opposite
wouldn't be there
scenario.
to enforce constitutional law.
Yeah.
They would be there to subvert constitutional law. That's the difference.
But even then, I would still think that they were under the authority of the executive branch, not the
The
judicial.
Constitution is the law of the land. Trump is not the dictator of America, and he doesn't get to tell U.S. Marshals that they to disobey the Constitution to do what he says. That's not really how it works.
What do you think a
So,
military coup is?
okay, well, I really don't think we're going to get to that point, and I hope we don't. But whatever,
January
dude. We live in
6th was a
clown
little
world. Who knows?
seed.
I
Can you
mean,
guys hear me?
I don't know. I just like to be prepared. And when we look at the signs, they're not looking great. especially because we just watched him tank the stock market for shits and gigs.
Khaleesi, be careful there, buddy. There's a walk back there. Don't worry about it.
There's
Calm
a
it
walk
down.
back.
I'm still wondering how it
Absolutely.
What
is.
walk back?
Now I kind of want
Pay
to. I
attention
kind of
and
want
you
to
watch and
tickle.
see.
I
Pay
kind of want to tickle a
attention and you
thought here.
watch and see.
Hey, Cindy, I'm wondering. Tell me this. Since the whole conversation started because you were essentially saying that Harvard facilitated disgusting behavior, how is it that an organization whose resistance against Trump is being led by probably one of the most honorable university presidents of all time, who happens to be Jewish, by the way, like his whole pushback is that
So let me ask you a question. Do you
none
think
of
the
what Harvard's
Jewish
doing
people
is
are happy
inherently
with Harvard right
anti-Semitic.
now? Do
But
you?
listen, I actually think so. Quite a number. It wouldn't surprise me. And you know
Wow.
what?
Okay,
And you
buddy.
know what?
If you think
And you know
so.
what? Here
If you
and you know
think
what?
Cindy,
so.
Here's the.
Cindy, we all
Tara,
know our
stop. Come
own.
on.
It's
But
also
no,
You
no, no.
got
What
true
I'm
hey,
about
saying is,
Tara.
diversity,
we
You
all
Connie.
got
know our
rabbi
own people.
Tara, you got rabbis talking about it.
Cindy, we
You
all
pissed
know the
off.
people that we know. The people you
Okay.
know are upset. I know some younger people because of my kids and stuff like that. They are not upset at all. They are upset with Trump. Okay. So it just depends on who you know. It is true that a number of very, very wealthy donors, right? Ackman, definitely comes to mind, are very, very angry about Harvard. That is true. But there are many, many Harvard graduates. I know many of them who are angry at the government and not at Harvard. They might think Harvard should be doing more, right? They might feel that, they're not enforcing their own policies strongly enough and they need to do more on the issue of anti-Semitism, but they certainly don't support getting rid of research funds in order to achieve that goal. So we all know the people that we
Harvard's got
know.
plenty of money for research. You know it and I know it.
No, but that's not the point. The point
But
is
it
you can't put
is.
them in. No, it is not. The
How
point
That's
is
is
it?
not how research grants work.
they
I,
are given
I, I
out.
I definitely know how research grants work.
You
Khaleesi.
You
do.
definitely do
Thousand
not. You need to stay in
percent.
your lane, please.
1,000%. Because I donate to a lot of them.
Yeah, and you put
A lot.
constraints on how the
So
funding
where do you want
actually
to go with
works.
this one then?
That's fantastic, but that doesn't mean you know how they work. Like, I'm talking about federal
Really?
government grants.
All right, so you're talking
Okay.
about NIH grants. There's lots of different
All
kinds
right.
of grants, though, Khaleesi. Like,
Yeah, but
and it's really
regardless, it doesn't have to be National Institute of Health.
Oh my God.
Like, tons of different, like, so many different departments give grants.
So listen, Cindy, what the government is claiming is that Harvard has engaged in, what is it, Title VI violations,
Yeah.
anti-Semitism, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there is a process that you go through if you're claiming this. And what you do is you go to the university, you talk with them, you go through, you give them notice, you give them opportunity. There's all sorts of things you're supposed to do. You're not, and one of the things that is not on the list is denying federal research funds that have nothing to do with that. That is actually not on the list of actions that you can take if you're pissed about a Title VI violation. So what they're doing, the government is basically blackmailing Harvard or trying to blackmail Harvard with a reduction in these funds, which they have no right to do. That's all I'm saying.
I just think it's interesting that the champions of free speech are the ones that are coming around saying it's okay to use the government to suppress free speech by denying funding. Like, this is basically the exact thing that the First Amendment was included for, was to stop the U.S. government from suppressing free speech. And here it is. It's actually happening.
Right, but no.
Nobody has the gonads to suppress it, and then you have agents like Cindy going about pretending that this is all hunky dory and it's all perfectly fine.
Cindy's not,
That's
wait,
not
Brian,
what I
Cindy's not
said.
an
Do not
agent.
put
Cindy's
buddy,
not an
buddy.
agent, okay?
Put
She's
it,
a
pull it
person.
back there, buddy. Okay. I'm
Brian,
far from an
what you're getting
agent. Okay.
confused is
Pull it
free
the fuck
speech and
back right
funded
now.
speech.
How's that?
There's nothing
Now
that
you want
says
to
See,
that
see?
you're
I
not
don't even ad
required to
hominem
fund your
attack
speech.
Cindy. Come
Okay.
at
Well,
me,
I
sorry, what?
do.
Definitely going
Cindy.
I
after Cindy
do, and
right
I
now. It's not
just did.
cool.
How's that? I just did. How's that?
You just did what?
So there's nothing that
Exactly what you
says
just
the
said.
American government is required to fund your
So
speech.
before you throw a
There's a difference
haymaker, buddy,
between
be
free
careful.
speech and funded speech.
Be very careful. Tread very
It's a
lightly.
hominin, a haymaker.
I
Okay.
never know what is going.
Yes, I
Ribbit.
know. Mm-hmm.
Right, but I think
Cindy, I'll give you that. We got the ad lib.
That,
Brian's
but
point for getting
it doesn't say you.
what he
It
said
doesn't say
about you,
someone will
Cindy,
say
which was,
certain
I
things.
believe, totally unwarranted. Okay, Brian's point is that what the government is saying to Harvard is we want the ability to control you and control your hiring, control what you teach in your courses, control your viewpoint diversity, which I find to be highly amusing, right? That's the exact thing they seem to not like, but we want to make sure that we have enough viewpoint diversity. When did that come up, by the way? It's sort of a weird one. We want to make sure that you give audits every single year of everybody in all your departments to make sure that you have enough viewpoint diversity. What does that mean in physics? I'm sorry, people are not posting their
Oh, Kira, I
political
know.
beliefs.
It
No,
means, hold on,
but
wait, did you see the anti-Christian bias task
oh
force?
my God, yeah, well that's ridiculous. Oh
That's what
shoot,
it is.
no,
You
but
need
what
to
I'm
have
saying,
enough Christian viewpoints.
yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that doesn't make any sense at all. So what Brian is saying is to punish Harvard by basically trampling on their constitutional rights, and their rights of speech, association, things like that is really crazy. Okay, and this government is trying to censor Harvard. There's no question, and they have no right to do so under the law, under Title VI, or frankly under freezing funds, because there's nothing saying if Congress has given out of funds and it's through a contract and people have approved this, you can't just sort of say I'm taking it back, nanny poopy, which is what they're trying to do. Wrong, all wrong legally, wrong morally, but wrong legally.
And like, I don't know, I'm concerned about the places that, oh, because it's DEI funding, now certain communities don't get to have clean water. That means we're not conducting the breast cancer research that we were previously conducting. Like, this is harmful overall. I don't get why we can't just acknowledge that. Oh, so for those of you who don't know, Pam Bondi announced that she is starting an anti-Christian bias task force.
Oh, she's gonna do something that's actually still doing nothing.
I mean, I don't know.
This is why
Like,
she's still trying to find the
What has
Epstein
she
files.
done?
Still,
What the
can
fuck
we?
is Pam Bondi
She's still
done?
trying to
Period.
find those Epstein files. It's not easy, especially when they've been given to you or
She should
whatever.
be fired.
I mean, I completely agree that she should be fired, but like, I think that this anti-Christian bias task force is literally the Gestapo.
Well, but I think anti-Christian bias has actually existed for a long time, and it's bizarre that it seems like it's just a weird, like, there's got to be some weird political motivation behind it. And also, as the attorney general, she has other things she should be doing that are more important than worrying about Christian bias. Like, let us Christians like worry about that ourselves. Thank you. Keep the government and state separate, especially as attorney general, retard. Are you kidding?
Hey,
You
no,
just
no
synced
hate,
up to
no
my
hate on the
short
Trump
bus
administration.
profile
They gave you the
picture.
right to use that word.
My
Trump
brother's
said,
autistic.
I'm sorry. Trump said you can
I can
use
say
that
whatever I
word
want.
again. Nora, you can use that word again.
I can
Trump
say
said so.
whatever I want. It's called free speech. Also, my brother is autistic with moderate to severe
Oh, you don't
impairment.
No,
And
have to
it's a
typically against
claim
rule.
that.
disabled
It's a
people.
Shout
rule in the
out
room. We don't
bipolar.
use that word in here. Thank you.
Stand
Respect the
up for the
space.
short bus.
Some of my best friends
Okay,
PTR.
if
are.
you actually lived with
Y'all are
a
nasty
disabled
work.
person all the time, and you're gonna try to word police me, shut the fuck up.
Damn, and you guys got mad at me for calling Cindy an agent?
Let me just
Nora, it's
say,
just one of the
Well,
Nora.
rules
I
of the
think you should be
room.
careful
Okay.
what you say until you get to know me a little bit better. How's that?
We'll never know each other. It's
That's
okay.
right.
Hey, this
Excuse
is
me?
old Brian from Clubhouse,
It
right?
I
is.
don't know who he
It's
is. I don't care
Of
100%
who.
old
course.
Brian from
This is
Hey,
Brian.
Clubhouse.
Brian!
We love Brian. Yeah, he's
hey,
great.
come
Well,
and
you
get
Yeah,
can
you,
love Brian all
Brian.
you want right now. I ain't loving Brian right now,
I
okay?
understand that, but
And
I'm
he's being
saying Brian,
ruder, and then he's being
He's an
even
OG.
more rude, okay? So let's
he's an
go,
OG.
Brian.
He is an OG. We have to give him that.
Cindy,
No, I don't.
give it like 4 hours. We'll all cool off after the room, and we'll all be happy again. It's okay. But if it makes you feel better, genuinely, I apologize. It's very much in the spirit of the room.
Oh, okay. Well, find somebody else to pick on that's your age. How's that?
And Nora, don't tell me shut the fuck up. I've been nothing but respectful to you. This is not my space. This is something that
I wasn't
Jonathan.
speaking to anyone personally, and I don't know who's talking right now.
It's
So
divine.
just
Let's
watch your
pinch
mouth.
hitting
That's
King
Brian!
all.
Nora,
Diamond.
you
Just
gotta
watch your
breathe,
You don't
mouth.
honey.
need
You
to tell
gotta
me to watch
breathe.
my mouth. I can say
Bri-
whatever
See,
I want.
here we go
Bri-
again.
Do not
Brian!
control
Somebody better
Nora. I
talk to
promise.
her. You
Let
better
it
talk to your
happen.
girl. Get your girl.
Just let it happen. Trust me.
Brian, is there any news that you like were particularly interested in this week?
No, not even remotely. I've just listen. The election already happened. Everything that those of us voted against Trump had said is coming to pass. Right now, I'm just making money on the turbulence, and I'm totally chill. So no, I've got no particular news that stands out.
Oh,
Okay,
so wait, hold
so
on. You're making money off this right now.
he's trading the volatility, but
Hold
Hundred
on
beyond
now.
percent.
your money
Hey, good for
making,
him. Good for
beyond
him.
right, but beyond that,
Allie, we're not allowed till after midnight. Quiet.
Brian, what do you think Trump's plan is with the tariffs? If this goes like as like
It's
unimaginably
very
good
simple. He's
as
going to
you
walk it
expect,
back, Allison. Watch.
beyond your
Watch
worst
how fast he
thoughts.
starts
Yeah,
walking
look,
things
he
back.
already didn't he say today, didn't
He
he have another
already
thing? He said, I
said
would
that
never
he's going to
fire Jerome
walk it
Powell
Yeah,
or
so
back.
something, you know.
there's your
That
first
Even
walk
even the
back.
there, that's the
And
secretary.
what
first
happened?
walk
And
back
Tira,
because
Because he
and the
Because
market
he
goes
can.
way up.
can.
Yeah.
Tira, what happened to the stock
And
market?
the market
We
goes
Seconds.
got a
up, right.
stable
Okay.
base
Because he
and
Watch the
knew
game.
clients
Yeah,
ready to
Why don't
trade
you
it.
sit back?
Ali, 1 second, guys. Ali,
Sit
why you
back.
still talk? Ali, why you still talking while they're talking? Come on. I mean, I want you to contribute, but come on, you can't do that. Go
Well,
ahead,
there were
Cindy. Go
three
ahead,
people
Tara.
talking.
I guess what I'm saying is, yes, you're right. The market went up in part because of what he said about the Powell. But at the end of the day, is this what we really want? We're being
This
whiplashed by
is
a
not what
guy.
you want, Tira. This is not what any of us want.
I know, whiplashed by
So
a guy who every
let's
day
clarify
changes a
that.
tweet. I mean,
People
it's
don't
insane.
like people don't like uncertainty. We know that. Nobody likes it. And nobody likes a lot of his playbook right now. But at the end, let's just watch and see how the playbook plays out. Let's see what he does. Let's see where we are 6 months from here. Maybe by the end of the summer. Let's see how the market looks. Let's see how the economy looks. Let's take a look. We might flash back here, and this might be very old news.
But Biden wasn't given any of this
But we're
grace
not talking about
in
Biden.
this
Biden is in the
timetable,
And
rearview
and this
mirror.
let's wait
Biden
six
is in the
months, let's wait
rearview
another
mirror.
year, da 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 da
Biden
stuff.
is
I'm just
Michelle.
saying
nah.
He's in the
for the
rearview
record,
mirror,
he was not given
never to be
any of this
president
grace.
again.
He was not given any of this grace.
And folks, I called it. I called it in my Dateline. I said, "Oh, when the conservatives get here, they'll say this was all part of the plan. It's part
No,
of the
listen, that's
deal."
not true,
No,
Spud.
Bob,
it's
come
That's
on,
not
not.
come on,
true.
come
No,
on
no,
camera,
No,
Bob.
no.
Spud,
Don't even
Bob, come on
start. Don't
camera.
even
we
start
don't
that.
know the plan,
What
buddy.
happened
You
is
don't know the
Besant.
plan. I don't
Besant.
know the plan. Nobody knows the plan. We're on a
There
roller
wasn't
coaster
a
ride.
plan
Go
until
enjoy.
Bassett got in there, who's an
Go
actual
enjoy the
adult
roller
in the
coaster ride.
room. And now
Go.
that Bassett, an actual
Spud,
adult,
did
is
you
in the
make
room with
money today?
Trump,
Did you
now
make
that
money? Did you make
eh,
money today? You're in the finance world. Did you make money today?
oh, of course. But
Oh, okay.
Cindy, I actually love the volatility. It's great for people that trade. But listen, I'm not like that's a different story. Like my yeah, that's totally different than
Okay.
your
Well,
average American's retirement account, right? Most of them are not in managed funds. Most of them are not able to or have the knowledge base or the skill. I mean, like it's the whole thing, right? I mean, that's
well,
just
then maybe
not.
they should invest their money with you,
Well,
Nobody's gonna
anyway,
move
but
their
like
right?
retirement to somebody
the
who trades
the
on
point I'm
volatility.
getting
Let's
at
be
It
is
literally
honest.
doesn't work like that, bro.
the point I'm getting at
Who's
is that
bro?
there is now
Is that him or
an
me? I don't know who bro is, but okay.
I assume that was you. Who are
I
we?
don't know. I didn't know it was a bro, but okay, I'll grow a penis. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just saying that
Yeah, I'm
Bessie.
sorry, but you don't have to have a penis to be a bro or a bruh.
Exactly.
Well, in
Yeah,
my
we're
generation,
more of
you
a
do.
Respected.
badass Cindy than many of
In my
the
generation,
guys.
you do, but that's okay.
But I feel like Bassett has gotten in there, and now there's a direction, right? And I feel like this direction is more moderate on trade policy, more moderate on tariffs. And he said 5 separate times that he was not going to fire Jerome Powell, and every single time he said that, the market bumped up again. They love that. I love that. It's great. He should just keep saying that. Anyway, I land. I'll leave that there.
Again, don't you guys see the play at all? Can you just step back, look at the picture, and look at the crazy things he says, and then look at the Dems run and jump right on it? He's playing everybody like a fiddle. It's scary that you don't see this. It's not a good play,
But
by the way. But
Cindy,
this
real
is his
quick,
play.
ma'am, if I may.
I'm
Uh,
not agreeing to the play, but you got to kind of watch the play. It is kind of a little bit of a
Is it
reality
yeah,
TV
possible
right,
for
show.
us
right.
to hear?
Hey,
That
guys,
it's a play? Like that's the
I
part
know
I'm
I
you guys
very
said
heard
that,
me, right?
curious
Clancy.
about.
If you
Let,
heard what
let
I
her
just
land.
said,
Bully.
I said it's not a good play. Listen to the words I'm
No, no,
using.
no. But I'm saying, why are we playing at
Hey,
all? Like,
hey,
I don't know. I don't think
hey,
that's something
let
to
some
do.
You'd
other
have to
people
get
get
his red
into
wine to
the
know something.
conversation as
The
well,
best
people.
part is
Uh,
that
uh,
it's a play.
mm.
What?
Cindy, ma'am, isn't that market manipulation?
Well, hold
I'm just
on. There was
asking.
a woman
Is it
speaking, fella.
is it market manipulation? Well, you could say there's some market manipulation. Absolutely. Did he want to take the market? You think maybe he's thinking back and saying, Jesus, maybe this was a little too much, too fast, right? I don't know. Again, I'm not in the man's brain. I'm not in any president's brain.
But Cindy, he
Yeah, but
tweeted.
the thing
He
is,
said
you
people are
do
going to get
realize
rich
there's a
or
lot of
richer.
people who's losing money, right?
Put it out there.
Eh,
Don't you
eh,
see? He loves the attention, guys. And we just keep giving it. So keep giving it all the
I
attention you
agree
want.
with you on that one,
Cindy, how do you
Cindy,
not
Cindy.
give it the
what?
attention when it's literally what's
Because
happening
I
with
wouldn't
the
waste.
domestic and global
I wouldn't.
economies?
I
What about the
wouldn't.
people who are not millionaires and billionaires that can sit around and let him play until they recover? What about the people that's losing everything?
Cindy,
Come
you
Whose
on,
want
Michelle.
retirements are going
Michelle.
you
down?
Michelle.
said that about
Stop.
him
The
being
Stop,
common
Michelle.
people,
proven.
They're
the
not.
common people, Cindy,
Michelle. They're
the
not.
common people,
Michelle. They're not
people's
losing
valuations
everything.
are going
You're
down absolutely,
exaggerating.
and they're
You
getting ready
are
to retire.
exaggerating.
I don't live in a bubble, Cindy. I'm
Okay.
not exaggerating.
I don't
We talk
care
to
where you
people all
live.
day, every day,
People are
Cindy.
not going down with their 401s if that's what you're talking about right now. What are you talking about?
They
The
are. They
firemen,
definitely.
police, the nurses, the school teachers? Is that what you're talking about right now?
Boomers are about to retire.
People
Gen
who are
X is
not
about to
millionaires and
retire.
billionaires. That's what I'm talking
People
about.
who voted for
But that's
Trump are about to
all.
retire.
There's 1% in this country that are multimillionaires, and I don't know how many billionaires are in this country. 1,200, 1,400 that are registered billionaires. I don't know, but that makes up a very small 1% of the country. Come on, there's 99% here.
Okay, so what about people's pensions and their retirement, Cindy?
Are you
What about that?
retiring? Are you retiring tomorrow?
I could if I want to.
Okay,
Because
then.
I meet the criteria. But guess what? When I looked at my money, my stuff went down. I'm not a millionaire or
Michelle, I don't
billionaire.
know why that is, honey.
So if I decide I want to retire right now
Ray's
because I can,
portfolio is down 4%. That's it. That's it, honey. 4%.
okay, 4% of what?
Dude, 4% can be years off of a retiree's fucking ability to pay off their retirement.
No,
Yeah,
What the
actually,
fuck?
that's what
she
Oh
four
my
don't she
percent
God.
don't care.
comes from.
She don't give a fuck. She
No,
don't
no, no.
care.
Actually, you guys, before markets, before ZERP,
Your
and actually markets have
401s are
gone up
going
an
to come
average like
back.
20% the past, 20 years or so. There's a 4% rule for retirees where you should retire with having enough money to retire means you should be able to take 4%. You send 4% of your portfolio annually, and your portfolio wouldn't. You'd be fine with that. Say like you'd had $1 million and you'd be fine living off of $40,000 a year. That'd be the 4% rule. And that rule comes from, on average, prior to ZERP, the zero interest rate phenomenon that led to a lot of market inflation and inflated returns on the stock market for the past, I would say, since 2008 ish. 4% was the average the market went up annually. It would have years where it went down. It would have years it would go down 12%. It would have years it would go up 8%. But on average,
Nor, what the hell are you talking about, Nor?
Baby,
I'm talking.
we
I'm
never
trying to.
know. Where
Yeah,
Laura
well, I
at?
mean, I'm just like my head is spinning because Nora talking, Nora,
Because
and you talking,
someone
and
was
you
saying
talking fast
4%.
too, Nora.
4% is actually a historically
Cindy
like
talked
low
about
number.
Ray's. What Cindy said that about
Yes, raise is
Ray
not. Yeah,
Ray's
4% is nothing. Is my
portfolio.
point. My point
No,
is
no,
4% is
Ray's,
Who
no, no,
nothing.
no, no,
who
no, not
But
cares?
raise
Ray's
the
personal
professional. Raise the
portfolio.
Where's
professional.
Ray's
Laura?
all his clients. Chat, did Ray explain this to you earlier in
He
my room?
did. He
Okay.
did. He
Can you
did.
repeat what he explained to you?
So he explained like the gloom and doom, like we're not there yet. He talked about how what, and then he actually was like he didn't totally agree with what Trump did, like what he did with the
That is
market.
correct.
He said he didn't approve of that because it did, put some volatility into the market. However, like the market. He taught me about futures today, right? And so when Trump made that announcement, how policy directly affects, we talked about how policy directly affects the market. And the market does affect everyday people, but so does policy. That makes sense.
And what did he teach you about '08?
Oh,
08 or
I
09?
forgot about that.
What did he say? He goes, I thought the world was coming to an end.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he thought the world was coming
Near
in because
near
they had
that.
never seen that before, right? And so, like, even going through that, and I guess that's probably why, like, Scald and like Ray can kind of see things differently. But he does not agree with the whole gloom and doom of it all. That the world is going to end. That we're in this place where people are going to start jumping off of buildings. Like, we're not there yet. That's what he explained.
We're not going to be there either, but
Yeah.
that's not the
And
concern.
I
The
agree
concern
with that
is
assessment, right? And even today, I was saying that there's still
hold on,
time to turn this thing around.
hold on.
And
The concern
there's,
is,
oh, sorry,
can
what?
you guys not hear me? Hold on for a second. The
I
You
can
don't.
hear
concern
So
you.
are
you're on
people,
another
the
platform. So
concern,
understand that there is a delay. So we
yeah, but the delay is
apologize.
about
Did
10
you want to go
seconds.
ahead and go?
Appreciate
Or
you.
you can
Yeah,
get on this
yeah.
platform and make
So
all our lives easier.
can't,
That would be a
can't,
whole lot easier.
anti-malware on my phone prohibits it, which we should probably talk about with Nelson. So
Oh, we can. Message
the
me on
main
CX. I'll be back over there.
the
Go ahead.
main concern is not people jumping off of buildings. It's the US dollar no longer being the main reserve currency of the world, and the US therefore not being able to steer global policy, the US no longer being able to steer essentially our ability to live comfortably way beyond our means, right? So we're all going to have a very uncomfortable resettling as a result of some of the harebrained policies that have been implemented in the last few months. And nobody seems to be comfortable with that except for the economists that are watching our ability to actually back our own dollar become debased. Like, that's the thing people are missing. We're losing our status as a global world power, and that should concern people.
Yeah, so Brian, I've been talking about Dixie and the relative strength of the dollar pretty much on here in every Dateline for what folks, about last 3 weeks. I don't know. It's been part of my Dateline almost every single night for quite a while. And yeah, de-dollarization is certainly a threat. And it's a serious threat, right? If we lose our status as a reserve currency, there's already people in BRICS. There's already multiple countries that are threatening to join BRICS, which, if you don't know, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, that have been trying to supplant the dollar with some sort of like shared currency, but that's completely fictional because they don't even have a shared currency yet. Anyway, but the real like point here is if we do lose our status as a reserve currency, this is very negatively impactful to the United States economy and our global policy going forward. And this is one of the major concerns that we're now having to finance $9 trillion over the next few months at an interest rate we'd probably prefer to be a little bit lower. And
Because that number is $3 billion a day, correct?
yeah, I mean, I don't want to just, I I don't follow bond sales that closely, Cindy. I think on average
Well,
that's true.
but we all know the interest per day on the country's debt right now is $3 billion a day.
Right, and it's going to go
That's factual.
higher because we're refinancing 9 trillion of that at like a 4.5% interest, give or take. Well, there's different bond sales, right? We don't sell just 10-year treasuries, right? We sell different we sell different length bonds at different times. Anyway, but the point is, with all the rates creeping up, we're having to refinance a portion of our debt at a higher interest rate than we really would have liked. And so, like, that's one of the major concerns here,
But
in
is
addition to
that is
everything
that
else I'm
only
saying.
Trump's fault, or is that all the politicians throughout the decades?
Well, we've certainly had, where it's at right now. It's not been this high for a couple years, but it's been higher, right? We've had even higher interest rates in the past. So, like I said, we're not like in a completely catastrophic place. But if you keep the ship sailing this way, right? You keep the tariffs on, you keep flip flopping, you keep acting crazy. If you keep doing the behavior we've seen for the last month, if you keep doing that month after month, this damage is going to become increasingly real, and it will move
Remember
from
that
Wall
word. When
Street
I agree with you, but
to
remember
me.
the word you just used. The word is if. Let's see what he does. Look at if he's going to start owning his mistakes, then I give him credit for standing up and owning his mistakes. If he doesn't own his mistakes, that's a problem for me.
The only problem
Period.
is
When
End of
with
has
his
he
story.
ever
mistakes.
owned his
Can you guys
mistakes?
hear me?
Yeah.
I think he's starting to,
The
guys.
only
If you haven't
the only
noticed,
problem is that his
I think he's
mistakes
starting
are
to.
affecting everybody. So as much as it's nice to say, well, just let it see what happens. A lot of people like living and they like
But
their
at this
life
point, we have
and
we
they
have
don't
nothing
like
else we can do,
that's
buddy.
not true. You have
We're not.
nothing
You're
else,
not the
obviously.
president. I'm not the president.
No,
We're
no,
not
it's
going to
called a
get in his
government of
ear,
the
right?
people, by
So
the
all we
people,
can do
for the
right now
people. No,
is
that's
sit on the
BS.
roller coaster ride
BS.
and do the
No,
best we can do
no,
as
we're not going to
Americans.
just sit back and ride the roller coaster. We're not. That's not what
You have
human
no
beings do.
choice.
No, we don't have a
You
choice.
don't have
You
a
don't have
choice.
a choice.
Okay.
Obviously, your brain doesn't have a choice. Everybody else has a choice to raise their voice and to come against this nonsense.
Keep raising your voice. Where's
No,
it
it doesn't
Can
getting
mean
you?
raise
raising
your
a
voice,
voice,
but Cindy's
but
right
no,
about the roller
there's no
coaster. From the
choice.
standpoint, you can raise your voice, of course, but your
It's not just
pocketbook,
raising a
your bank
voice.
account is going to get impacted by by
Yeah.
inflation in a big
Oh, we
way,
can't do
and by
anything,
the
everybody. We
impact
just
in
have to
business
watch.
and a recession,
Sounds
which
crazy as
was,
hell.
imminent anyway. Over the, I mean, it happens. Cindy's talked about it. It happens in cycles, and
Oh,
in time. In some, let me just finish this. In time, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years, whether it's 3 years, the decline in the market on 401ks will come back. I mean, we've seen that in history. We've seen it in the dot-com bubble. It took longer, right? It crashed bigger, right? And we saw it in COVID. It came down big, but it came back quick because it was a bit of a hype situation globally. But it's gonna, it's somewhere between a year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years, and it depends. I think it still has
somewhere
room to go
between
down another
1 year,
10%.
2 year,
So it
3 years,
may take
4
a
years.
couple years for it to come back. It depends how quickly we're going to get to, and I'll land in a minute. It depends how quickly we're going to get to the table with all of these various international trading partners, the big ones first. I was with I'm going to land here, but I was with a number of electric bike. I'm out in LA, and I came to LA specifically to talk to our brands and sit down and talk to the people, see what's going on, and check in and see how they're navigating and what decisions they're making and all of that. It was absolutely fascinating conversations over the last couple of weeks. But I'll share that another time. Back to
Good.
you
I'm,
guys.
I'm going to be president, everybody. It's going to be all good. We're going to end the war in the Ukraine. Inflation, everything, prices are going to go lower. All this nonsense, man.
Thank you.
Let's
That was very kind.
let's just let it ride out, though. Just don't do anything. 350 million people. Just just say this is what we all want. This is what we all need. You can't do anything
I
about
didn't
it.
say that. I
No, I
didn't
didn't
say
say
that. I
you
said you
said that.
speak
Now,
up.
hold on, don't center yourself. I'm talking to the concepts in the atmosphere in the room. So don't throw yourself under the bus by getting triggered. I'm talking about a mindset that's out of this mindset of
You
we
don't
can't
trigger
do
me.
any. We're talking about we can't do anything. Oh my God, just let it ride out, guys. There were send indicators today about depression level worse and stuff going on. So you know what I'm saying? Just don't worry about it. Don't say anything. Just shut up and sit down and just
You
let
can
it
say
ride
everything
out.
every night, but where's it going to get you?
No, don't. It's not about
Tell
in
me.
this room. The clubhouse
Tell
ain't
me
the
where it's
only
going to
thing
get
that do
you.
this.
I'll
Just
join
raise
you.
your
I'll
voice.
join your paddy
You don't
wagon.
have good
Tell me
people
what
to
we're going to
just
do. Why don't we
nonsense.
all get
If
together
you don't
and
have good
drive
people,
to the
it's
White
just
House and have a
nonsense. You have
conversation?
utter chaos. So I'm not going to let that be the loudest voice right now. Oh, just do nothing, y'all. Just sit back. You have no power. You can't do anything. Teach that to your children. Don't teach that to everybody else listening now. That's nonsense. If
Bro,
it
buy
was
the
Biden
dip. You're
or Kamala,
freaking
you
out,
sure as hell
man.
wouldn't be saying that. But we got to just sit here and stomach that. Oh, don't worry. He's got a plan. I don't know what his plan is, but you just got to trust this guy. Come on, man. BS. He works for us, man. Me works for the people. He ain't no goddamn dictator, authoritarian to just do whatever the hell he want to do. There's real lives at stake
Dude,
here, man. If you want
he's
to
But he
go out
he,
and
is.
let the
he's
But
record
he
doing
show
the
is.
things he
you
ran
didn't give a
on.
But
damn,
he
you
is.
go
He
ahead and do
said he was
that.
gonna do all this
Everything,
shit, dude.
But
What
you're
are you talking
not.
everything.
You're not
You're
about?
going to
right.
let that
Everything he
man
ran on, he's
ride
doing.
your roller coaster ride. He's not going to ride your Ferris wheel. I'm sorry, and just say nothing. That's not going to happen. Thank God Harvard
Well, I
has some.
want you to
Thank
go to the
God
White House and
Harvard.
represent
Thank
all of
God
us. How's that?
Harvard has some damn heart. Thank God they've got some some, I don't even want to say it around the
Harvard's got a
phone.
heart.
Yeah, they got a heart. They got
Okay.
courage. Thank God they're the only ones pushing back right now. God damn shit. They're the only ones that just ain't going along with the okey doke. And you sitting here talking about, I know some people that, come on, man. We all know people.
So let me
350
jump
million
in.
of us
Let me
out
jump
here.
in real quick. I mean, you
Crazy
got.
as hell.
Let me. So Cindy, I voted for the guy, and I understand. And I'm young. I mean, I'm gonna go through it anyway. I got time to wait or go through the cycle. But I got a best friend. He's 86 years old. His daughter is um, has MS, right? So she's in bed full time in a nursing home, right? The nursing home is very expensive. Constantly, they're calling him. The only reason he's holding on to life is because of his daughter. He's got a little bit of money in the stock market. He just lost about $150,000. Okay. He's stressing out every day. He's sitting on his chair. He's an 86-year-old man watching this guy play whatever he's playing, and he's losing money. The money that's in there, basically, after he dies, goes to a trust fund to take care of his daughter in bed. She's about 50 years old, so she needs, a good amount of money to, live, right? In the nursing home with all the things she needs after he's gone. What should he do? Should he wait? Should he just sit around and just watch his money go down the drains?
The
So when we
money is
say,
not down the drain yet unless he's sold, and I'm
No,
sure he
hang on,
will
well,
Cindy.
sell,
he's
That's something
right?
I got to ask
but
positive
he's
though. How
80.
much
But
does he have in the market if he lost $150,000 in a couple weeks?
yeah, he's
Oh,
probably got another 250 in there,
no,
right?
no, that
Why?
wasn't the
Why is he
question.
invested so aggressively? That makes no sense. You don't have
Yeah.
$400,000 in there and lose $150,000
That
in
is
just a
Well,
correct.
couple
So
weeks.
no,
well,
no,
go.
no good wealth
So
advisor
tell him
would
to take
ever
all his
put a
money
man of
out.
that age
Well, I'm
in the
I'm
S
giving
and
you
P
guys. I'm give.
500.
I get it. I get it. You guys are the pros, right? He's not, and now he's where he is, right? So when we say wait to an 86-year-old man, that's basically waiting all this time, hanging on to life for his daughter, right? It's kind of unfair, right?
Only a year or
So,
two or three or four. Just hold on, man. You'll be okay. You'll be 90 years old. Don't trip. We'll
well,
ride it
he's
out.
no, but
Positive.
here's
Let me
no, but
positive. But
hold
let
on,
me ask
hold
you.
on,
I want
yeah,
you to ask him a
sure,
question.
hold on
Positive.
one second,
Seriously.
hold on one second. So I get it if it was gradually going down, right? It went down in like days, literally, right? So I can tell him, hey man, I do tell him, I'm like, hold on, don't worry, everything's going to be fine because he's my best friend, right? And I have to keep him calm, right? But when he sees his money drop so much in one day, and I keep telling him, hold on, this guy's got a plan. Does he have a plan? That's the question.
Positive, if you're in the fund, there's
Hell
no way
no.
he would have lost like 40% of the money.
Yeah, he
Like,
just
I mean,
rolls the
especially
dice.
in this
His
dip,
plan is roll
it's
the
not
dice and see what
possible.
happens.
You know what, Robbie? No one's
Nah,
asking this
man. Actually,
question.
he does have a
Nobody's asking
plan.
this question.
He
He
got
does
a
have a
plan, all
plan.
right.
So we knew that the
He,
market was going to
he,
correct.
yeah,
Okay, we knew the
and he's
correction was
doing it.
happening. That's. But was it self-induced in this correction? 1,000%. Did we know the market was totally inflated and it was going to come down? For sure. Everybody knew
And
that with a
you
half a
agree
brain a
that
hand.
it's market
Number two.
manipulation,
Number two.
Cindy, right?
What no one
So
asked the
that's the
question is
plan.
positive. What you need to ask
That's
him
the
is
plan
this.
right there.
No.
Market
What you
manipulation. Get your money up. That's the plan. Y'all keep on saying there's no plan. There is a plan. He told you what he's going to do. He's doing it. And for those who had ears, heard it loud and clear. Some are taking advantage of it, others are not. I mean,
Yeah, to the
it's
point.
not
I went
rocket
fully liquid
science.
right before. I went fully liquid right
And
before
whether
the inauguration. Best
I
decision I
agree
made.
to it, it's kind of besides the point. It is what it is. I mean, just
Sit down and say
adapt.
nothing, everybody.
Adapt,
Or
people.
just eject.
Survival of the
Yeah.
fittest.
There you go.
But the
That's the name
problem
of this.
is,
You're not
you
fit,
got a
just
lot of
die.
people who doesn't have the knowledge that we have that are suffering, Cindy. Right?
Don't worry. Tell them, hey,
Buddy, I
survival of the fittest,
agree.
man.
So
Don't
guess
worry
what? When
about
you
those
don't
guys.
have the knowledge on how to invest your money, then you find a good advisor that does. Now, I don't know what advisor has an 80-something-year-old man all in the S&P 500. That's cuckoo crazy to me, okay? Because advisors that I know would never do that to an elderly person. So I don't know if he invested his own money. I don't know how he did it. I don't know what he started with. I don't know what he's up. he might be up 200,000-300,000 from what he first invested, right? And it's made all this money over time, and now he's lost 150,000 of his gains. Are these gains that he lost it again? I don't want to see anybody lose off their gains either.
Man.
Cindy, the
But maybe,
silent
it's
generation
not
and
principle.
baby
That's money that is.
boomers
Look, I'm
have
just
a
trying to be
tendency of stuffing
rational
their
here.
money
Just
under the
rational.
mattress.
Let's think rational, okay?
Rational
The
is
silent
recognize
generation and
that we
baby
Let's
got a
put it this
boomers have
crazy
a
way.
president.
tendency of
If
putting
you
money under the
invested a
Rational is
hundred
mattress.
recognize
thousand
we got a
dollars in
crazy
stock
president.
market 10 years ago, what do you think that would be worth today? With the type of markets we had up until this movement right now,
Yeah, Cindy,
Crazy.
what do you
nobody,
think a
Invest
hundred
professionally.
thousand would be
Cindy,
worth 10 years later?
Cindy.
I
The
mean,
problem is
look,
the audience.
if
You're
you're
an
going to be
86
if you're
year
going to be building a
old
house, you want a
who,
professional and you want to hire them. If you have any amount of wealth, you want to hire a wealth manager. You're not going to go at it alone, and you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. So I hear this time and time again in this room almost every night. Well, what about us average people who just lost everything? You didn't. Why? Because you're not 100% invested in the market. The average middle class family doesn't have a couple million in there. So when you're talking about freaking out, all you're doing is basically not making a credible case for what's really going down here, people. The market corrects. If you've learned anything historically, you've seen 2008, you've seen black swan events. And even my advisor said, look, there's going to be a black swan that hits. Even though this is not a black swan, they have to be conservative and fiscally responsible to manage someone's money. If you have any amount of money that's worth anything, you're going to pay a professional. So I would make the mistake and take my own responsibility. If I had $1 million and I thought I could play the market and be in the casino, because it is a casino, it will make money over time. But you know those things are going to happen in an 8 to 10 year period. Just look historically at the cycles. And if you're going to invest blindly, well, that's your own responsibility. So I just wanted to land there because I keep hearing this same rhetoric over and over. Oh, well, he just lost this. She just lost that. No, they didn't. They didn't cash it
Yeah,
out. They didn't liquidate. And you know what? They probably have more things in other things
great,
besides that. They've got it in
great.
real estate. So
Yeah,
let's talk about
yeah. I'm
inflation
glad
for
you
a second.
landed. I'm glad
Because
you
if you're
landed there.
concerned about losing
Glad you
4% in
landed
the
there.
market, how about losing 15% over 3 years when the
Yeah,
market started to, or
I'm
not when the
glad you
market,
landed
when
there.
everything started to inflate like
Yeah,
groceries and
yeah,
gas? And if you've looked around lately at the grocery stores, prices have come down considerably. If you look at gas prices, they've also come down. So what you spend on a daily basis, not what you have saved, is starting to put money back in your pocket. Let's talk about the things that are working. Because all you're doing is focused on the things that aren't, and you want to criticize the guy. Well, you know what? If your life is a little bit better, great. If it's not, do something about it.
yeah.
Just stop bitching
let's
about it.
let's
Yeah,
talk about that. So
Yeah,
let's
nice.
talk
Very,
about that for a
very
second. Actually,
arrogantly stated. Very arrogantly
let's talk
stated.
about that. This is important.
Very
The
arrogantly
thing about
stated.
gas.
Absolutely.
Hold on.
It's
The
not
thing
about
about
just the
gas.
stock market.
The thing about guys on chatter. 1 second. The thing about gas. Gas prices always come down in a recessionary environment. Why? Because demand for discretionary travel crashes. Nobody's traveling to random places for vacations. Nobody's traveling to see friends or family. People are staying home. They can't afford to buy gas to go traveling to wherever. That's why in every recession, gas prices come down. Why did we have the inflation that we had in 2021, 2022?
What
We had it
recession are we
because
talking about? We're not in any recession. Stop, buddy.
Bro,
Please, we're not in any
recessions are
recession.
always declared. Recessions
Now,
are
when
always
we go
declared
into one, then I'll
90,
agree with
90
you.
to
Until
120
then, we're
days
not in a
after it
recession.
actually
So
what
begins.
about his
If you look
don't
at the
put
energy?
Atlanta
fear.
Fed now,
Why do you want to put
Cindy,
fear
Why do
into
you want to
people?
Cindy,
act like there's
silence
All
for
you
nothing to
want
one
to do, you
talk
want to
about
moment.
fear
here,
monger
For
Cindy?
people,
one
Rick.
moment,
Why do you want
Cindy.
to act like there's
Cindy,
nothing here to
silence.
talk about?
Hey,
Hold,
one mic
There's a
on
hold on.
lot to
Brian,
talk
man.
about,
Let him
but I
land,
don't
bro.
put
Hold on.
fear
We're not
into people.
here
That's I
to
don't
Hey,
play
hey,
that
Cindy,
game.
Brian,
I
get
need
your
you to
base up.
visit.
Silly, why do y'all say it's fear
preparate.
mongering when people are just saying what's going on? I don't
Cindy,
understand
I
that.
Because
need
It's
That
a
when you
that
start
tactic
deflection.
won't
talking
work, man.
recession, we're
Cindy,
not in a recession show.
That's
Everybody
BS,
knows
Cindy,
man.
this.
No,
you're in
Many
this
people
That's
know.
I'll
crazy.
give you that
But a
conversation with him.
recession
But why
is
is it fear mongering?
because because that's
Because
what's
it's Donald
happening.
Trump. She's
You
trying to
No,
make
defend
I
people
think
Donald
more
it's a
Trump.
scared.
buzzword that y'all like to use to try,
Who's you all?
Just like Trump derangement syndrome,
Oh my
because
God.
you want to
I'm
explain why
coming
people are
soon.
pushing back on everything that's happening. I just have a
Michelle,
Do
problem with
y'all
listen,
think
there's a
Cindy
everyone
would say
always
the
difference.
saying
same
there's fear
thing if it
mongering,
was
there's fear
Michelle,
Biden in the
there's
mongering.
a
White
Well,
House?
what did you
difference.
guys do when
Michelle,
Trump wasn't in
Do you
office? Was
honestly
okay,
that fear
think
Michelle,
mongering?
the
Cindy
problem
would
is,
say the same
listen,
words if it was
there's
Biden
many
in
people
office?
in
Can we get
this
one
room that
mic?
have a
Can we
hard
get one
on
mic?
to Trump.
Can we
No
get one
matter
mic?
if he did everything
Oh
right,
my God.
you'd still have a hard on for the guy, and that's
Defending
okay. I don't
defending
have
this
issues.
dude
I
is
have a hard on
crazy.
Hey,
right now,
sweet
and I have
brother,
a
man,
job to do
please,
right now.
bro.
Okay, since I have a penis, like he said, because you call me bro or whoever
No,
calls
that
himself
wasn't for you,
TTS.
man. It was on this side. Forgive me. Carry on, sis.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
sis.
thank you very much. All I'm saying is this. This is very simple. Okay? We're not in a recession. When we get there, let's debate it. Let's talk about it. Okay? Do you
Cindy, Atlanta
understand without
Fed,
Doge,
GDP now. Look up
Medicare,
that model.
Medicaid,
Look
hold
it up.
on, and Social
Enjoy your
Security
recession.
would have been done in 5 years? Do you know that?
How
You
Doge?
think
Are you
Doge is coming to
serious?
save?
No
You
way.
think
Oh,
You
Doge is
just
coming
said
to
100%.
that.
save
Oh
those
my God,
100%.
programs?
Cindy. Cindy,
Cindy,
that
Sarah,
is
Cindy,
I
you're
so
agree.
you're
wrong.
Medicare,
now
So wrong.
Medicaid,
that's fear
and
So
mongering,
Social
right.
Cindy.
Security would have been
So
gone in
right.
5 years. No,
Cindy,
that's
that is
factual.
That's fear
completely
mongering,
Sierra.
wrong.
Cindy.
That's
No,
factual.
Sierra,
That's
she's right.
I
factual.
can't
That's
hear
that's
factual.
not right at
nothing.
all.
I
She's
don't
wrong.
even
Let me
Sierra,
know.
just
you're right.
I can't
no,
hear
no.
Okay.
So
nothing.
let me just explain what Doge
One
has
mic.
done.
One
What
Social
mic.
Doge has
Security
done
was
One
is
mic.
found.
increased
Can I
too.
One
wait?
mic.
I'm
You
talking.
can't hear
One mic.
Cindy?
Whoever. Okay, what Doge has done,
Mm.
one of the things they have done is they have found things in the system in terms of Social Security that everyone knew about. So, for example, everybody knew, in the Social Security people knew, not everyone in the world, but everyone in Social Security knew that there were some numbers there that probably, Social Security numbers that had not been used, but they were there because they're vestigial, right? In other words, they were kept there for whatever reason. There were reports on this in 2023, 2014 even had reports on this. The Social Security Administration decided to not do anything about it. They thought it would cost too much money, so they didn't. Okay, so a lot of what Doge then says, "Oh my God, look at what we've discovered: fraud, fraud, fraud." No, not fraud. B, not a discovery. C, no savings. So what has happened here is Doge has made it appear in many cases, not all, but in many cases, that it has found all this wasteful spending and fraud and terrible things, but in fact, it has not. Sometimes it's just found things that, shouldn't be there from a record keeping standpoint, but have not increased spending. Now, the second thing that Doge has done is found that there were people who were fraudulently getting Social Security
I'm
checks,
not
right?
even, Chair, I'm not even talking about those people. I'm just
No, 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 no,
talking
no.
about, no, I'm just talking about how much money before we ran out
But Doge
of
hasn't done,
Medicare,
but let me
They have
just,
nothing to do
Medicaid,
with
and
that,
Social
can
Cindy.
Security.
I just finish, please?
Okay, you
Doge
get,
They
I'm
has
out.
done
I'm out.
nothing. Doge
but
has
they
done
haven't done
nothing.
anything in reference to
There's
that,
nothing
Cindy.
that they have
I
done
Okay,
can't
because
okay.
understand two yelling liberals at once.
can I just
Gotta
finish,
go.
Barth?
Allow
I
her to
was not
land. Allow her
finished.
to land. And you
Okay.
guys can rebuttal,
Can I
please.
just finish, please? Okay. Doge has actually done nothing in terms of policy of Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare. What we have seen is that the government or the Senate has passed a budget, the House has passed frameworks for budgets. Both of these things will actually be forced to cut Medicaid, not because they want to cut the budget. In fact, the budget will increase, but the reason why they're doing it is because they want to give tax cuts that will actually have a bigger impact on the wealthier people. They will be more helpful to wealthier people. So there's no change, there's no saving of the system. Nothing has happened here. The only thing that's happened here is that the Congress basically is going to be cutting Medicaid, not because they want to save the system, but because they have to save the tax cuts for their friends and allies. So I don't understand. Doge has nothing to do with these things. It has not found any savings of any magnitude. And even if it had, these are not savings. The way you get savings is you incorporate them into the budget. Nothing has gone into the budget. And as to Social Security, they have done Zippo. I don't even understand why you would even make that claim. Thank you.
Don't forget the Russian
Sierra,
accounts,
would
the
you like
Russian
to
users that actually tried
rebuttal?
accessing the U.S. government through Doge created accounts. You have whistleblowers, the National Labor Relations Board, that have actually surfaced that as soon as Doge had accounts created, Russian IP addresses tried signing into them within an hour of their creation. And they were oftentimes only blocked by policies set up on Microsoft's own software in the cloud, right? So you have this going on from Doge, right? And you've got whistleblowers talking about it. You've got investigators looking into it. Lots of credible information coming out. It should really start to draw some attention to the fact that maybe Doge is not really focused on making government more efficient.
Nah, you guys just lost all credibility with the
You
last
can,
administration. Sorry,
yeah, well, you know
I don't
what?
believe anything you say anymore. And
you
I
can
pay attention to all the shit.
you don't
So
have to believe
Andrew,
everything.
yeah,
Andrew,
bro.
do
Just
you
watch
do
the
you
results.
believe that Doge
hey,
has
listen.
actually saved Social Security? That was just said. Do you believe that? Do you have any basis for believing that?
Social Security is fucked. We need to get rid of it
So
and
you
pay
don't believe
everyone,
that
give
Doge
everyone
has
their
just
money back.
saved it, right? You don't believe that Doge has just saved it. You just don't
No,
like it.
I think
Fine.
Social Security is fucked. It needs to
I
go
see.
away. Give
Okay.
people their money back.
Yeah, Andrew. Oh my God, Andrew. I don't know where you get your beliefs from, but I sure as hell hope you have a lot of money because
Uh,
you're going to need it because you don't make any sense at all. And honestly, if the
I have
world that you
never
would,
for a
if
moment
the
thought that I
world
would be
that
getting Social
if
Security
the
at any point
world
in my
that you
life.
envision comes to pass, the world in which there's no taxes, there's no taxes on
Only
anything. We don't have the
booster shots.
IRS. We don't have Social Security. You're
Taxation is
screwed.
theft.
You
I
are
don't want the
screwed,
government taking
Andrew.
my shit.
Yeah, Andrew, I get it. You're screwed.
Pave your own
No,
roads,
I won't
Andrew.
be.
What a lunatic opinion.
Like I said, Doge is actually Elon Musk started off by saying, "I'm going to find $2 trillion," and say, I think it was 3 trillion initially, 2 trillion. Then he knocked it down to 1 trillion. Now it's 150 billion, and people are claiming that that's really closer to 69 billion. That's nice. I'm glad he found these. But once again, unless your budget goes down, you haven't found anything. Okay, budget's not going down. Responsible groups on bipartisan groups have said that the Senate budget raises the debt from, I think, $5.7 trillion over the next 10 years. Nothing's going down. And by the way, Storm, if you're still here, no, grocery prices aren't down. They are up. They are less up than they were before, but they are still up.
And
Yeah, you know
I'm
what?
still
Bryant
studying
was
more the
totally
grocery
correct in his
development.
submission earlier. And I mean, if you don't trust the evidence, you're doing that at your own peril. I believe balance is key in life, and try to, look at the both sides. Let me put it that way, because who audits the part or departments with tech bros? Like you got to ask yourself a constructive, critical questions here. There's a reason, right? And one thing that he didn't mention was backdoors. And he did it in so many ways, but yeah, these technocrats are here in the government, and they're the new bullies on the block. I better take heed. Sweet, you was trying to say something?
Yeah, meanwhile, while he's over here doing whatever the hell he's doing, that only him and God and Trump or whatever knows what the hell he's really doing. And meanwhile, this little thing called Tesla he started is what, down 71% or something like that? And they're like, well, hey man, you might want to come put some attention on your company while you're over there just totally all in the back scenes of the back stages of America, all up in the nooks and crannies of whatever, which nobody voted for you, by the way. But meanwhile, you got this little thing called Tesla over here. You might want to go put some attention on that, man. And so man, yeah, like, oh well, it's not a recession yet, everybody. So we'll start talking about it when it gets to where everybody agrees we're in this recession and it's on this downfall, and nobody knows what the hell to expect. And that's not good. Not only in a market.
Everybody doesn't agree we're having a recession, bro. That's
I
your
didn't say
opinion.
everybody did, bruh. I didn't even
Dude,
say
the,
that,
the
bruh.
Fed's
So
the
why are you
Fed's
dubbing
own
me in
models
conversation
are
I didn't
predicting
even
that we're
say, bruh? Why are
consistently
you cutting me off to
3%
say some shit
down on
about what I
GDP.
said and I didn't even say it, bruh?
One mic,
Sometimes
one
you
mic,
He
might
one mic,
get
one
tripping,
one
slow
mic,
like
bro.
that, man.
one fucking mic,
Thank
please.
you. Check that
All right,
dude,
guys,
bruh.
1 second. I said one mic. All right, yo, bro, whoever you are that's speaking, let him land. All right, I sat here and listened to this shit show. It's not your show, okay? This is Debate the News show. All right, a lot of people have put a lot of time in here to get this show to be where it is right now. You're not gonna come in and ruin it by talking over someone at will. Sweet speaking, let sweet speak. You can speak afterwards. We don't care about what you have to say. You're gonna get a choice to voice your. You're gonna get an opportunity to voice your opinion, but you're not gonna do it while someone else is speaking. All right, you're not gonna be disrespectful. I understand your own CH probably, but this is not a CH mentality. So, sweet, go ahead.
No, I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to balance out some of these thoughts, man. I mean, if somebody wants to put some attention and they got an 86-year-old or their mama, their daddy, their cousin, if people want to feel the need to kind of make plans and prepare and ask questions and figure out what the hell's going on, because there's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of different ways. And it seems like if you stand up and do the American thing to have a voice and to put some kind of a dissenting opinion from the leader of everything, then that's something that we're proud about. I think enough ancestors of all of us on this stage have paid a price, black, white, red, yellow, to be able to say, hey, you know what? At a university in different places, we can raise our voice. Doesn't mean now you're on some kind of terroristic list or something, because you're expressing that, hey, these are children and these are women, and let's bring a little more sanity to the conversation. Oh, now you got to be silenced. Oh, now we got a prison for you over here in El Salvador somewhere. Come on, man. I'll be damned if when it's my time at 56. Like, I wasn't here 70 years ago, Jonathan. I wasn't here 100 years ago. Sure wasn't here 2,000 years ago. But we've got enough history to study where if people don't say nothing, man, and don't use their voice and talk, what the hell are we doing? You got to have a right to be able to say, hold up, man, just don't worry. Don't worry about anything. It's okay. If you can't see through that, this ain't about Biden and Trump, man. This ain't about Democrat, Republican. This is about lives on this planet. America touches the planet. This is big, man. This ain't nothing. So this idea to stand for, because if you don't, then what happens is stuff starts to creep up on you. Then you can't even think about even opening your mouth. Who wants to live in a planet like that? Who wants to live in a country like that? Some places are like that. If you haven't traveled and seen other places, you can't even say a damn thing at all, man. And here we are just, oh, Harvard, you can't do this. A Jewish dude is saying, hold up, man, we're going to keep on doing this. What are you talking about, man? We got to let people, yeah, we got to have campus police. Yeah, we got to have security. Yeah, we got to monitor all that stuff. But to say you can't say anything? Bro, nobody wants that world. And all these other things that are adding up. It's not just the stock market only. It's not the only metric that we're studying. It's a lot of different angles that are like, hold up, man. That's what I'm talking about. So don't get caught in the weeds thinking, oh, this is just about the stock market. It's just natural. It goes up and down. Just, hold on. Take your money out, whatever. It's not just that. The energy is not coming just about that. The energy is becoming of what this individual is doing. Nobody gives a damn whether Democrat, Republican, nobody in their right mind, whether what Biden did, what Barack Obama did, what right now is going on, man. We've got best practices on this planet, best practices in all these fields of study. I don't give a damn if it's real estate, if it's the stock market, if it's construction, if it's engineering. There's best practices, man. And that's what people have the right to say. These are not best practices on tariffs and so on and so forth. We got to have those real conversations without being deemed as you're anti-American. Well, you should just leave the country. It's not that. And we got to push back strong and have these conversations, man. So appreciate you, Jonathan and Cindy, for your views.
All right. Anyone wants to respond? Go ahead. All right. There you go. Sweet, you shut it down, man. You
I
shut
mean,
it
I
down.
can always say something, right? Let me just give you guys some breaking news from DTN University. According to the latest poll, do you believe that Doge will turn out to be successful? 64%
No.
says yes, and 36% says no. Viva Doge!
What was
What
the
in the
sample
world?
population of that survey?
Listen, the universities can't agree on what matters as far as how many people, and neither do we. So tonight, Doge
Only three
wins.
people. Three people took the poll. I'm
Go
sure
on
of it.
mute. Like
Kind of
300
poll was
people
this?
plus. I don't remember.
It's a good sample population.
You got to come over here to Chatter to find
I didn't
out.
even see the poll, Dan. I think you made that up.
That's good that you didn't see the poll. Trust that.
I got a poll. I'm gonna
And
start
my
with
vote
my.
would have tipped it back where it's supposed to
I'm gonna
be.
go get my.
You know, when I heard y'all talking about, the market in 2008, and if we've been through that, we can get through this. That was, I think, Ray said it, I think Storm said it. The thing is that there are people that didn't make it because of the stock market. There are people that didn't have faith that the market, that they could rebound from what they lost. Like, I know we want to be optimistic and we want to believe that, there will be an upside, but there are people that don't know that. There are people that have all or most of their money in these markets that are tied into this in one way or another. Like I literally went through financial disclosures of like when I was working in the executive branch, and people got a lot, in the market. I can't tell you what it was, but people do. And like I don't know if people in 2008 were saying, oh well, remember in the depression or whatever market crash was before that. Like some people don't have that frame of reference, or if they do, because 2008 people said it was different. People didn't have a frame of reference. So I know we want to believe that most of us will rebound and, it's not the end of the world. But for some people, don't forget, some people didn't make it past 2009 because of the stock market. So I think when people are worried, I think we should take heed to that and listen to them and see what they have to say instead of telling them to sit down and wait. Some people are genuinely worried. Thank you.
Yeah, chat, they should be, because in general, there's two different divisions, right, for the market. There's the retail, and that's us, that ends up, selling at that greatest point of fear, buying at the, or no, that's the opposite. That's what well, when there's fear, there's the market movers, the whales. And those are the people that buy, right, the dip. And they buy on the red candle. They buy when there's the greatest point of fear. And when there's the greatest point of greed, they sell, right? So it's like this polarity. And when there's volatility in the market, the educated, big money, whale market movers benefit. And they know how to buy and sell. And, that volatility just means there's more profit, more buy sell when they buy low and they sell high. And the retail, the reason this all works is because the retail, which is us, the consumers, the people, not the people that are whales with moving the market, literally, right? It's so predictable that people will be faced with the fear of oh, I made the wrong choice. This is too much risk for me. I'm retiring soon. I have to take my money out of the market because I cannot accept it going any lower, and they sell, right, at the wrong time. And that's when the whales come in and buy. And it's just what happens, chat. And that's the reality, which is the little people don't benefit. The market, the retail part that, is the emotional component of fear and greed that the market movers, the whales, manipulate using the news cycle, especially when you're like due for a correction. I think there's probably some people in Trump's like camp that say, hey, this is good. We need a solid base to build on for 4 years. And we were due for an overcorrection. You've had your little, since the 80s thing about the tariffs. We think it's going to tank the market. Just do it, get it out of the way. And then we'll have that correction that was expected. And, he gets his unpredictable, whatever, isolate us from a bunch of people. You know, plan of like that's just his negotiation strategy. But yeah, in general, it's the retail, it's the majority of people, not the very small amount that have enough money to move the market that suffer with volatility.
Well, speaking of retailers, did y'all hear that Walmart, Target, and Home Depot they met with Trump today?
No,
I
no,
heard the
tell us
meeting was
about it.
taking place. What was the outcome, chat?
They were there to discuss the tariffs, the Chinese tariffs on imports, and they discussed the rising costs and potential impact on consumers. So
Did
that's
you
what they were
notice
there to discuss. And
that?
then I think we saw, I mean, I know they want to say that, like, and not to say it didn't have a major impact, right? Trump saying he's not going to get rid of Jerome Powell. I know that, like, directly affected the market, but I think this also is a good sign. Or the market may have seen this as like a good sign. So yeah, I didn't know what y'all thought about that. Like, what do y'all think could have come out of that meeting?
Well, that to me explains the softening on Trump's position. He's definitely not bringing all that bolster and bluster and all of that energy, which is a good thing. This is my point. Pressure will bust a pipe. So with enough pressure on him, whether it be the bond market, stock market, whether it be the people, pressure will guide stuff. Now you can start having a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And that pressure, because look, bro, you in the seat now. Trump. And so, yeah, meet with all them because that's real conversation now. Now, rubber's meeting the road. Okay, good. So now, because the reality is, you pushing up against something here and now, the effects of it. See, you got to save face now, Trump. Now you got to try to walk it back without looking like you walking it back because you went out so damn strong and so chest all out, and now you up in there doing all this stuff, man. And so now you have to soften up. Okay, he ain't telling you. I saw a little news clip in a little while ago. Oh, you want to engage China like that? No, I'm not gonna talk stupid like that. I'm not gonna create some war with China. A whole different kind of disposition. Good. See, now you're getting the wisdom that people are talking about. Of course, now you can represent possibly and have real conversations, man. But there's a way to do things without being a punk. You don't have to be extra, put all the extras on it, man. America's already strong. You don't have to, you don't have to do that, man. In fact, it makes you look weaker when you have to floss like that. You somehow you didn't learn that lesson in your lifetime, man, as an individual. It's not necessary. America's already got a certain position, and there's things that need to be worked on. So go in there and bring the strength to the conversation, but be a human, man. Damn it, you're not finna. It's not 1925 no more, bro. This is a different market, 2025, and goods and stuff, man, and technology and man, that's awesome. I'm excited that good. Go ahead, you got to talk to and Amazon and Target and everybody else that's a make because you think these goods by and large are coming from a lot of these places, man. Toy manufacturers. There's a lot to this. It's not just the stock market, it's the people that ain't working no more in this supply chain and stuff that are being affected. You might not see all of that in the stock market. There's a lot of other indicators. And so, to your point, sis, I think it did have it. And why he's not so quick to say, well, I can get rid of Powell. I can get rid of Powell as soon as I want to. If I just say the word, he'll be gone. We know you got power, man. Quit flexing like that.
But hold it, I think the general consensus is we all know it's bullshit and that he doesn't have the power to do that. And that's what is kind of like another level of market manipulation. Because when everybody that's in the know knows that he's just talking shit because the Fed is independent, there's so much. He can't just fire the Federal Reserve chairman like he could other people. It's very different, and it's not that simple. So a lot of people didn't take him seriously when he said that. In a way, like maybe him leaning back is just, it's not quite the submissive, oh, I'm eating crow, I did the wrong thing, I'm being more humbled. I don't think necessarily that is happening because the general consensus is he didn't have the power to actually just go to the Federal Reserve chairman who's an independent for reasons, good reasons, right? And just say, you're fired.
He
So in
doesn't
other
have
words, I think
he
it's the day traders that were manipulating and just making money
no,
off
I'm
the
not.
daily news cycle.
Come on, man. Let's not do that. Don't do that. Don't let him off the hook like that. You got to let people be responsible, man. You can't. It's not about attacking anybody. It's about telling the truth. So, he's a lot of things he's done already, successfully done that he doesn't have the right to do. So to say that, well, everybody, no, that's don't Monday morning quarterback it like that and try to just let the person off. No, you got to keep your foot on the person's throat or else they just start doing some crazy stuff, man. It's the people, and everybody's in agreement. Yeah, make some changes, man, but how you do it matters. It's not. It's not a. I
Right.
just.
I wasn't my point wasn't to take the foot off his throat. My point
Well,
was
I don't. I just heard you saying that. I think
firing
it
the
was the
feds
day
when he
traders, is
can't
what
do
I heard you
it
say.
is not, and him leaning back, it's not like,
Well, that's your
oh, that's the
opinion.
foot on
I'm
the
not going to
throat
tell you
that
you
made
can't have an
him.
opinion. I mean, that's your. I get that's your opinion, but just as long as we understand that's your opinion, because everybody that also knows, I can say, since we're talking about everybody already agrees and knows things. Everybody also knows. Look, man, what you were talking from the beginning, nobody was checking you, and there's still some stuff in effect now with China, and that hasn't been walked back yet. And so, and China ain't so quick to say, "Let's talk, man." You know, that shows a different kind of strength. You can't. What are you gonna make another person come talk to you? They're like, bro, you keep on pushing on it if you want to, but we have a lot of your country's debt in our hands. Just don't ever forget that, man. That's all I'm saying. I don't like being around somebody out in public and they just starting fights everywhere. That's not comfortable, man. Like, damn, slow down, bro. Everybody don't have to be a fight. Sometimes you might have
You
to,
know,
but you don't need to just pick fights for no reason.
if Xi picks a fight with Trump and starts going at him saying like you're so weak, blah blah blah, I would not doubt it if it's kind of baiting us to have some kind of war in out in the waters around Taiwan, just to like, because our naval, military being weakened would benefit Russia and China, really.
But when you
So
say if
I say
she,
watch out for it
if you
if
say if
he
she picks a
starts.
fight, she didn't start this fight. So you can't say if she picks the fight. It's already engaged. The first
No, what
blow is
I'm
from.
saying, what I'm saying is if he kind of baits Trump by saying, baits his ego by saying you are so weak in this way.
But that's not what he's done. So I'm saying, I mean, to throw that in the
It's a way to
atmosphere,
manipulate Trump was my point.
it's not. It's not.
On weak.
It's like saying,
If you want him to be
well,
strong.
it's like saying somebody walks up on you and you say, man, don't hit me, back up off me. You're not baiting them on. You're letting it be known, bro, don't do this. So if you get swung on and somebody pushes up on you, you can't start crying bloody murder. you got to
Wow,
go
I'm
in and
thinking of
call.
the track meet. That was like three
Well,
days of conversation
hey,
again.
if
Were you here for
a
that?
hit dog hollers. I'm just saying. I'm just making a bigger point.
Hello.
We're talking about the nations right now. It's the world. It's the same principle. It applies in your backyard and it applies all over the world. Is what I'm saying. And I'm saying that's the general idea. And that's where the tariffs and
Mm-hmm.
all these tactics come into play on how it plays out. That's what I'm talking about. And I think China is proving to the world, look, this ain't somebody you want to just try to bully. We are in bed with them to one degree or another, a huge degrees or another already. So, so come on, man.
And
Come on.
huge debt. You're right.
Yeah, come on back to and
Yeah,
Japan.
and didn't they send those planes back too, man? Those Boeing planes, they said they were sent back. Or
They did.
China, they're not playing. They're a 5,000-year-old nation. They don't play that.
That's all I was saying.
I saw news today that
Crazy.
Russia is getting drone technology from China.
It's not good.
I
China,
believe it.
It's not
Yeah.
good for all of us citizens.
Hey,
China,
hey, hey, hey,
China is not
listen,
a five
all
thousand year
drones
old
are
nation.
manufactured
That's
in
something
China.
that they like to say. That's something they like to say. It's not true. China breaks apart into brutal civil wars about every 150 to 200 years, and you can look into the history of this. It's very well documented. Physically, the land of China has existed for a long time, but it's not a 5,000-year-old nation. Their
What were
land.
you saying wasn't true? You were like, okay, that wasn't my point about the drone news. It's a different
Wait,
I
comment.
what's your
mean,
point about
Brother,
the
they
drone
said
news?
the
that's
Earth is about
semantics right there,
5,000
man.
some years old. Their dynasty
Well,
is
what
maybe
point
the.
were you? I just didn't understand what point you said wasn't true. 5,000 years, what?
He was addressing
The
what Ash.
somebody said the nation of China was 5,000 years old.
I
That's
guess
not
he's
true.
saying
The
China's
China's like
not thousands
Relatively
of years
consistency
old,
old.
of the
I
right?
don't know why that's
civilization,
relevant.
brother.
no, it's
You're
like 100
mixing
years
my
old, guys.
words.
Like
China's 100
The
years old. Yeah,
90 years
civilization
No.
right,
is
old.
right,
pretty
bro. 100
old.
years old China. That sounds great.
So what was it before this?
Well, what
This
y'all Ashton was trying to clarify. Y'all don't hear her? Y'all didn't hear her?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to
Ashton,
Go
Ashton.
ahead,
clarify
Ashton.
Uh,
that I'm not saying that the consistency of the nation has stayed around for 5,000 years, but you got to remember that is a dynasty. China, modernized. Yeah, I mean, they, probably been modernized, for probably well over, 100 years or so. But as far as a dynasty, no, China is not a joke. And I've been to places, I've been outside of America, I've been to Dubai, I've been to places like that, Qatar, all of that. They're not a joke and they're not to be played with because they've got money too. And they're not going to just let you tariff the hell out of them. The average tariff for the average American, $3,655 per working person per year. That really doesn't work out very well for people who are poor or those who can barely make it. If you're rich, I ain't talking to you. Talking to the people on Main Street and figuring out how they're gonna eat, or wonder why now we are ballooning to feed well over 2,000 something people who come to us because their kids may not get summer lunch, and we're having to step up and figure out how we're going to feed some 3,000 people that ask us for help for the upcoming summer because Donald Trump thinks it's a good idea to cut programs in NOAA and the Weather Service. When we had 9 tornadoes touch down in Dallas Fort Worth and people having to run for their lives this Easter Saturday and Sunday for Easter. So it's absolutely embarrassing. These are services that we cannot get rid of when people out here like us are having to run for their lives. It's not fun. It's no longer a joke. And I don't know how you can get Donald Trump impeached, but it's absolutely scary when he cuts funding to California, cuts funding to states that you hate, when a lot of their infrastructure was burned to the ground. It is absolutely embarrassing to leave people in peril. And that's what I think about when I think about Donald Trump. If you vote for him, that's your business. I don't care, right? I could care less. But at the end of the day, the decisions he makes by the stroke of a pen affects everybody's lives. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, purple, or white. These costs get passed down to you, and that means tariff, tariff, tariff. And Donald Trump was the president that said he'd keep prices low, remember? He didn't do that, and now people are having to pay for that, and that's not good. And some people are
Right,
paying for that
right,
with their
right.
lives. It's not good.
Interesting. Let's
Well,
talk about this autism directory that RFK is creating. I personally think this is a pretty good idea. And I know that's
Mm.
probably pretty controversial, but I think it's good to start centralizing this health data. I know there's a bunch of people on the left that are like, he's creating a list of all the autistic people in the United States. It's like, what? Yeah, bro. It's Health and Human Services, right? Like, CDC already has a bunch of lists. Like they have lists of people that have been infected with STDs. They have lists of people that have had COVID, right? So it's like making a list of people that have autism, especially with an eye towards doing research on those medical histories. You know, I personally don't necessarily have a problem with that. I was wondering if anyone else in this room feels maybe differently or the same.
Sell it to
yeah,
me.
it
I need you
depends
to sell it
on
to me, bro. I
it.
need you to sell it to me. Hold on for a second. I want him to sell it to me because what you just told me was that you think it's a great idea and they're going to do medical research. I need you to sell it to me where it's going to put people with autism in a better position than they are now. Sell it to me, man. How much you
He
gonna
he,
pay for it?
he already did, and the thing
No, man.
is, uh,
Respectfully, I need him to sell it to me. I need.
oh, you
How
want
much you
him
gonna
to
pay
sell you
for it?
the idea?
I want him to sell it to me because he thinks it's a good
Bro,
idea.
how
I
much are
know
you
you
gonna
don't.
pay for it? You want us to sell it? How much you gonna pay
No, no,
for it?
no.
I
I'm asking
mean,
the
don't
guy that
ask a
said it
question
was
with
a
a
great
question.
idea to sell it to me. Tell me why it's a good idea. I mean, sell it figuratively. I'm not
How
talking about
much?
buy it.
How much are you gonna pay for the great idea? How about that?
Okay, y'all got it.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just
Okay,
asked
let
a
me get
simple
in there.
question.
I think no one got it.
Nelson, how you running people
Well,
off?
Well,
I don't.
yeah,
I don't
you
think.
Nelson.
wouldn't mind selling
I
to
don't
you.
think anyone got to eat.
Do you even know
Bully.
what he's talking about?
A
Hey,
late
sell it
night
to
What?
bully,
me.
We're
Chad.
lost.
Late night
The
bully.
right, Jesus. He must have woke up
Di-
from his nap hungry.
exactly.
I'm just
Diabolical
saying he's
ass.
spoken like a true salesperson.
I
What's
thought
something
that
worth?
was deep.
What is
Hey,
something worth?
hey,
Yeah, exactly.
hey,
What is something worth?
hey, chat.
It's what worth?
What is
So
Hey, chat.
value?
I
You
was
you
What is
said you
worth?
said that
Whatever the price on
I
it
was
Walmart.
is.
trying to get
I don't
in
even know
there,
what you're
but
talking
I was cut
about. What
off.
you say, big man?
Hey, you said Walmart is meeting with Trump, right?
Walmart,
Um,
Target, and Home Depot.
Okay, so I don't know if this is true, but I just looked it up. It said that Walmart 60% of Walmart's inventory is from China. I don't know if that's true or not,
It
but
is true.
I imagine that conversation is not gonna go well when they had that meeting.
Yeah, I want to get
It
back to
just
the RFK thing. I was trying to answer, and then GA try to come in.
One,
But if I can, real quick,
Wow.
the
one
thing.
second. Excuse me, sir. Thank you, big man. I appreciate that because the mother two didn't answer my question. But we're gonna go back to the because they just forgot my question. We're gonna go back to what Skull brought up, the autism registry. So go ahead, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. The thing is, it's not about the list. It's more so what kind of list are you going to make, and what kind of applications is the list going to be for, and what kind of technology. And there's a idea that's floating there that RFK, he wants to implement and put certain things on the blockchain, right? And that's kind of concerning. Yeah. So when we start talking about that, it's going to set a precedence. If he start putting people on the blockchain by way of DNA, the state
Wait,
budget
wait, wait, wait,
on.
wait, wait, wait. Hold on.
How is that a problem?
Who is this? Who is this? Who's talking?
Damn menace.
Who is
It's
that?
coming, dude. That's why 500 billion was given to Larry Ellison for
Alice,
mRNA
Allie.
cancer vaccines. It's true, chat.
Excuse me.
The cancer
Well,
Yeah, we.
that we.
cancer vaccines
Yeah.
work via
Yeah.
Whoa.
biometrics. It's true.
But
I'm
that's
dying.
But
right,
wait and
right,
see.
right. No, no, absolutely, 100%.
Personalized vaccines.
Yeah, we. All right. So to the brother speaking from the other app. What's your name, my man?
Hey, man. Have you forgotten about me, man?
What's your name?
Yeah. Hey, I was
What's
right
your
about the
name, man?
Diddy case, bro. Yeah.
What?
I was right about the Diddy
Give me
case.
your name.
Hey,
What did he
no, I am
case?
Bull. I am Bull.
Oh, bullshit. I get it.
You get it. You owe me apologize, sir. You called me
I
you
get it.
called me an idiot. You remember that?
Me? Nelson?
Yeah, bro. Like,
Bro, I
He
called you
yeah,
did.
man.
Blitty.
But it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's in the heat of the moment and shit. But you
I
see,
apologize, my
nah,
brother.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good. But yeah, man, I found I did some research a little while ago, and there's and this is way before RFK became what it is right now in the government, and you have this I don't know what to call it, but organization or firm uh, that's kind of linked to him. And they basically went to Ethiopia to an orphanage and basically took those orphans and put them on the blockchain on DNA, man. I don't think shit like that is cool, bro. You know?
Can I ask
And it
you
has,
what are
and it
health
has,
records, bro?
excuse me, sir?
What are your health records?
They're supposed
Where?
to be HIPAA protected.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly.
HIPAA protected or not, you can still encrypt something that's on a blockchain. A blockchain is
I know,
nothing more than
I
a
know that,
registry.
but to
It's a
me,
ledger.
but to me,
Oh,
that's
So,
the
so what the fuck
not
are we really
HIPAA.
that no,
saying
no,
here?
no, 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 no. Let me tell
Not
you
How
what
is
I'm
that not
HIPAA.
saying.
HIPAA?
I'm saying it's debatable. I don't know who Satoshi is.
Well, the
That's
blockchain don't got shit to do with
look.
Satoshi.
Yeah, yeah, whatever,
What is
man.
happening right now?
Blockchain
You
is
just
not
scared of
Bitcoin,
shit. You
bro.
just scared of shit just to be
Greg,
scared of it, right?
If you
Greg.
say so, at least when you're scared, you're intuitive, you got your eyes open, and you don't blindly trust anything that comes around.
But you also do your homework and you
No,
also
you
look
should be
into it.
making educated decisions, not
I'm
scared
trying to
decisions.
make
You're
educate.
manipulated from the moment that you're
I'm
scared.
no, 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 no. That's not how being scared. You're talking about being fearful. I don't fear no
Okay,
man but
boom.
God, right? So what I'm saying is there's certain components in the cabinet that I don't trust because the technocrats got a hold of them. That's basically the short answer.
Okay, respectfully, let's make it real simple, right? What's your problem with people's health records being on a blockchain?
Privacy,
Specifically, since you're scared of it,
privacy
what's the
concerns.
problem with the health records being on a ledger
Privacy
that's
concerns.
immutable and unchangeable? What's the
Privacy
problem?
concerns.
Are you into the freaking social score that Chinese people do? Because they get all your biometrics for
You see what I'm
that.
saying?
I mean, your records
Uh,
are out there on the
uh,
internet
uh,
anyway.
I'm gonna go ahead and step in here, folks. So,
Woo,
uh,
thank God. Jesus.
yeah. So let me
Oh,
tell you guys a little something here.
Hey,
So, as you guys know, I owned a cybersecurity company for many years. I'll state cryptocurrency consulting. Currently, a venture capitalist focused on investing in cryptocurrency and cybersecurity. Here's the deal. I actually worked on a project with the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp. If you don't know this, Ohio is one of the few states that has a very centralized Bureau of Workers' Comp, meaning every workman's comp claim flows directly through the state, and the state of Ohio gets the full medical record of every single workman comp's claim. Any injury, illness, sickness, whatever, if it happened on a job site, they are getting it. And what we did is we used a blockchain architecture, a hyperledger fabric, to basically create and separate out the HIPAA and PII, personally identifiable information, from one another, tokenize it, and then allowed researchers, right, to then use their keys to unlock specific parts of that information without ever revealing any critical information that could be used to
Thank you.
identify or compromise somebody's actual privacy. And one of the things this led to is a realization that there is a certain protocol for treating knee injuries that decrease the rehab time from 16 weeks to 10, because they were able to look at every single type of knee injury like this, and where they eventually found, like, hey, this one group of doctors is doing something really well, and then they went out there and guess what? Like, now, people recover faster, they get healthier faster, it costs everybody less money, and the people that have those knee injuries recover quicker. So it's like a win for everybody involved, right? So, in my mind, if this is handled well, this could really advance
here it
research
comes
on a
if.
national scope.
Yeah, I hear you. And that's my problem. If. I'm not a tech optimist or tech pessimist. I'm a tech realist, and it's more so about who's pushing the buttons, right? So there's a big if there, and it's not like it is as business as usual. It's like we're in a new age right now, right? And it's quite concerning, and I'm not comfortable. That's all I'm saying.
You owe it to yourself to study up on more about the blockchain and ledgers. You owe it to yourself, so that'll dismay a lot of your fears about the facts, or like the gentleman just broke down. And but I'll say this on RFK and
So you're
autism.
suspecting that I
And
don't know about ledgers and stuff?
I'm not saying any of that, bro. You said
No,
yourself a
I'm
little while ago.
asking.
Don't take
I'm
it personal.
asking. I'm not
Bro,
telling.
I'm trying to move on. I made that comment. I'm moving on to RFK
Yeah, but
right
you
now.
don't get to
We come
make
back
that
later.
comment about me and just move on.
I already made it, bro. What you gonna do now? Just
Yeah,
relax,
I
man.
posed the question.
all right.
Relax,
All
bro.
right.
We all making comments in here, bro. You know everything about blockchains? Come on,
Let's
man.
move it forward,
Oh,
honey.
damn, man. I'm just
What
trying
are
to
you
help
gonna
you
say
out.
about RFK?
Thank you. And so, before RFK was in this position under his administration, those that know about him know he worked with the CDC, whistleblower, and he was revealing the fact that his stance has always not been anti-vax. It's been anti this whatever BS concoction stuff that hasn't gone through a procedure yet. I thank God for people like that that are saying, hold the hell up. Stop. And they're also saying, let's document this rise of autism, and let's document how it's affecting when people get these shots, the connection between a shot and autism. Let's study that. I appreciate that. That forensic study that somebody's doing and letting it be known that, hey, hold up, we got to check this stuff because it's very important what we just give a green light to put into everybody and under different umbrellas. And all of a sudden, now you're going to call this a vaccine and things like that. That's very, very, very dangerous to just be experimented on. So I appreciate him for the fact that he's saying, slow your roll, slow down, hold up, wait a minute. This thing is too serious, especially talking about mandates and all this kind of stuff. So thank goodness cooler heads are prevailing that, look, we need to study why is this autism happening? Well, those that have autism is one conversation and how to deal with that. Another conversation is how to make sure to nip it in the bud so other people don't continue to get autism. So I know that's a huge part.
So, sir, you think that we haven't done any studies on, for
I didn't
example,
say that we haven't
MMR
done
and
any
autism? You think there
studies.
haven't been done?
No,
Are
that's
you
no,
aware
no,
that
no,
in
no,
Denmark
no,
there was
no.
a
Let
study of
me answer
over
your.
a
If it's a
half a
genuine
million,
question, let me
a
answer.
half a million
If it's a
kids
Yeah, but
genuine
you
showed
question,
gotta
no
let her
impact?
finish her question though,
no,
sweet.
bro. I'm in the middle of my statement, and then she comes in with this acting like it's a question, but it's not a question because she's just continuing to go and going. It's a
Hey,
topic.
hey,
She was just
sweet.
what? I'm trying to slow her up. Don't call Sweet's name. I'm the one that's saying.
Wait a damn minute.
I thought you were done. Keep going.
Nah, shit. Hello?
Let's talk about it.
You all right?
Is it me you're waiting for?
Oh hell no, dog. What the fuck is going on?
Bullet!
Hey, you get a little thing. You get a little excited. Now, Tara, go ahead, girl.
Well, no, I think the premise behind what he was saying is there haven't been any of these
That's not the
studies,
premise. That's
but there have been
not
a
what I
lot of
said at
studies. If you
all.
listen to
How are we just going to let her say
Senator
this and
Cassidy
take
when
over
he
a
when he
conversation?
actually talked to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he said
I
you're
didn't
aware
say
that there
anything
have been a
like
ton
that.
of these studies, right?
Why are you just letting this
And
woman
Kennedy
do
said,
this?
"I'm sorry, chat
Why are
just
you just
asked you
letting
to
this woman
continue,
do this?
sir."
I think what he's saying is, and I'm telling you, that's not nowhere near what I said. Are you saying there's never been any? I said the complete opposite is what I just got through saying. So I don't
Yo,
know
stop
where you're
interrupting
coming
people.
from.
She was in
I
the middle of
said,
talking.
and that's
Like I
what I'm saying. That's
said, there have
totally
been
Welcome
different.
over
numerous
here,
studies.
chat.
RFK Jr. doesn't like a lot of the results.
What
And you
results?
might think the results of the studies showing that vaccines don't cause autism, he doesn't like them. But if you actually listen to his colloquy when he was under confirmation with Senator Cassidy, Cassidy said, there are a ton of these studies that show that vaccines don't cause autism. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, well, I'm willing to look at them. Now, the fact that a man who's been arguing against vaccines for 20 years or so, saying they cause autism, all of a sudden is saying, I haven't even looked at the studies, should give us all a little pause, because he should have been looking at the studies, right? There is one study, for example, in Denmark, 500,000 kids, 500,000. That's a big study that shows there's nothing that the MMR vaccine has no causation with autism. There's also a lot of other studies of other vaccines, and I'm not saying you can't restudy things, but the idea that it hasn't been studied is just not correct. Thanks.
And I never said that. And what you said is a lot of lies right there. Because the MMR vaccine and black
Well,
boys
one
getting
second, one second. Hold on. What I want to do,
Well, not
sweet. One
mRNA,
second, one
sir. I
second, one
said
second, one second.
MMR. Sorry.
Tara, 1 second. I just want to do a quick reset, guys. You guys listen to Debate the News on Chatter Social. If you're listening to us on the podcast, do me a favor, guys. Please go and download the uh, Chatter app. It can be downloaded either at the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And once again, it's the Chatter Social app. We have these conversations nightly on the Chatter Social app. Also, if you are in the audience up top, we have the links for the podcast, so that you're able to listen to the podcast via the links. So once again, the links up top. Download, like, and follow the podcast. All right, guys. Once again, this is Chatter. This is the Debate the News. Sorry about that. The Debate the News podcast. Make sure you guys are downloading the podcast and liking and following the podcast. Today, we're just speaking about, is Trump making Americans feel safer or not? Basically, is what we're speaking about. What I want to do is, I guess, we have Tara and it looked like Tara. We have Tara and Sweet. Right? That's who I was just talking.
It
Sweet.
was sweet, Tara
Yep.
and sweet.
Tara and Sweet. Speaking guys. So we're gonna jump back on that. With that, chat. Can you once again just just give me a 30-second reset? No, make it a 1 minute reset. Chat. While I handle the CH side. Appreciate you.
Oh, what's going on over there? Okay. I gotta do a reset or something. Okay. Well, I hope y'all have been enjoying the show so far. What time did we start? 7 or 8? I can't remember. But I hope y'all been enjoying the show. I think we've talked about everything
All
from
right,
Pete
guys,
Hegseth
we're gonna do a hard
to the
reset real quick.
market to
We're gonna do a
Bitcoin
hard
to
reset. We're gonna do a
Walmart,
hard
and
reset.
now we're
We'll be up
into
back up and running
autism.
in 5
And
seconds. You guys just
RFK
find yourself a
Jr. and
hallway.
whatever he
Get a
wants
room
to
and
do
get
with
in
his
here in
life.
5 seconds.
But we appreciate you
Thank you
all
guys so
for
much.
joining us here at Debate the News. We are